Cool Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Yamin of Revolution. Plot twist in the Nolan Wells case. But before we get into that, y'all be sure to wipe y'all feet. That means hit the like button. You in the House of Revolution. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform, y'all. Let's get right into the content tonight. Salute.
According to inside information, the district attorney of Mississippi is not investigating a drowning, and she is investigating a crime. I am going to do something today that I rarely do on this channel. I am going to give you access to inside information that has not been made public yet. But before I do, please do not misconstrue anything in this video, because my daily listeners know I do not trust the district attorney of Mississippi, nor do I trust any government officials in Mississippi. And clearly, neither does Benjamin Crump or Nolan Xavier Wells' family. There could possibly be a major development in the Nolan Xavier Wells case. Sit back, relax. I'll tell you everything you need to know, and then I'll hand it off to you, the out louders. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. The Nolan Xavier Wells case is about to take a very, very sharp turn, and I want to make sure that I and you are ahead of it. This Monday morning, Benjamin Crump and his legal team sent off a fury of letters to the district attorney. There's one here right beside me. I will not read it in detail. I read a letter similar to this in yesterday's video. I'll pin it below in the comment section, and you guys could watch that video. What this letter is saying is the same one I read to you yesterday from August the 13th. And what it is saying is, we, the legal team, and Nolan Xavier Wells' parents are prepared to hand over the phone to the district attorney so long as the original agreement from July the 15th is met. And what is that agreement? Is that we look at Nolan's cell phone together with your people and our people. We will download it together so we both have access to the information at the same time. Now, this was Benjamin Crump's letter. Now, let me show you from a letter from Nolan Wells' estate. Again, you'll see here dated August the 17th, and it's Ben Crump letter was a follow-up to this letter. And again, it's saying the same thing. Nolan Xavier Wells' family, Christine and Elmore, are fully willing and prepared to hand over his cell phone. They gave them dates. Tuesday to Friday. We're available at any time. We just need 12 hours notice to have our experts come together, and you guys pick a date and time. We will be there. But once again, we're not just handing it over to you to do whatever you want. We need to jointly do it because that's what we agreed upon in our July 15th meeting. Again, I'm not going to go into details. Click on the video below for the full breakdown of the agreement. Now, why are we talking about this cell phone? Why are these letters? Why is everything revolving around Nolan's cell phone? For the past month, everyone's been talking about the Bodes, Officer Tatum, Nancy Grace, this or whatever, and everybody has had a ton of theories, the CETO call. Why now is everything involving the phone? And why are these legal documents getting sent out last Thursday, Friday, and now today? And that is what I'm going to share with you guys, because I have some inside information about that. Before we get to that inside information, I want to take you back to last Thursday when former Officer Tatum was on Nancy Grace. We also covered this interview, and Tatum said something about the cell phone. Nancy's producers didn't do their job. I called them out and I said, you guys should have prepared Nancy, because Nancy at that time didn't know about the agreement, the July 15th agreement that Christine said that, hey, we are holding back the phone until we both jointly inspect it. Officer Tatum said to Nancy, hey, Nancy, from what I understand, Nolan's mom still has the phone. And then former Officer Tatum, I'm going to play you the clip right now. He goes on to say, hey, Nancy, maybe the Mississippi DA and the police have not gotten Nolan's phone, maybe because it was a drowning and maybe they don't need to look in the phone. The only reason they would need to look in Nolan's phone is if they're investigating a crime. Listen to former Officer Tatum.
Well, you're going to have a reason to get a warrant. And if it's a criminal investigation and they believe that they can find evidence of a crime, if they had access to his phone, I could see them getting a warrant to extract his phone. But if you're looking at a potential drowning and there's no criminal element involved, Nancy, there could be two things afoot. I'm not a part of the investigation, but I can see if they haven't gotten the phone yet, it's because they don't need the phone and they don't want the phone. It's not there of evidentiary value if there is no suspect here. If it was a drowning and there's indications of a drowning, they may not need it, Nancy, so they're not going to go get it. If they need it, they would have already had it a month ago. If they need it, they would have already had it a month ago.
So if we go by former Officer Tatum's framework, then that would mean the DA is possibly investigating a crime because they sent out a letter to Christine and Benjamin Crump and the entire legal team saying, we need you to hand over Nolan's phone in the next 48 hours, but they want to negate the July 15 agreement. Why? Again, watch yesterday's video. Okay. That put out some light bulbs yesterday, and it got me to making some calls. And I will let you guys into some inside information. And I won't be able, unfortunately, to be too direct, but y'all are smart and y'all will be able to figure it out. So it's safe to assume that the DA now is investigating a crime and not a drowning, correct? Because they want the phone in 48 hours. Shout out to Christine and Ben for not handing it over and not giving them the phone and demanding they stick to the agreement to duly forensic investigation. Also, I have it on good information that the DA is preparing to go to the grand jury in the next 30 to 60 days. Now, think about something. They found Nolan's body July the 6th. They've been investigating since July the 7th. Remember the 6th, it was like, oh, no evidence of foul play. But now it went national. They started investigating. So they've been investigating since July the 7th. Now, today was August the 17th. Add 60 more days. We're going on to like 90, 100 days. If this was just a drowning, do you need 90 days to investigate? And then now you add on to the stuff, hey, we need the phone in 48 hours. But hold on, there's more. Let me cook. The autopsy was completed close to 2.5 weeks now, if not 3. And the toxicology. When they say the autopsy has been 100% complete, that means toxicology. That means that part is done. If Nolan Wells just drowned and there was no foul play, they would have gone to the grand jury already. It doesn't take that long to convene them. Certainly not another 60 days, certainly not 100 days. So keep in mind also, too, that the autopsy toxicology is complete, but they still need 60 days. Now, here is where you're going to have to put your thinking caps on and read between the lines. If y'all been following this from the beginning, from around July the 7th, July the 8th, former Officer Tatum and people on the other side have been alluding to the fact that it was just a drowning, nothing happened. And then around 2 weeks ago, they started changing their narrative saying, we think that something may have happened, but it's just not our boys. Morgan, Jax, and Warren. That's when you saw the father coming in, Benjamin Hudson. He's putting up the $50,000 for reward. He's threatening to sue Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton. It was like, yeah, maybe something happened, but it's not our boys. Okay. Why do you think now that the boys are doing so many interviews that are going viral? The lawyers are doing so many interviews that are going viral. We tried our best to not platform them, but we had no choice. It worked. But think about something. It's 2026. Mississippi. If this goes to trial, which if you put two and two together, the phone, the autopsy, the 100 days, grand jury, we might have a trial. Who is going to be the jury in that trial? The Americans, the Mississippi people. So perhaps, maybe, allegedly, these boys might be out there on social media to try to paint a narrative for, I don't know, maybe potential jurors. Maybe they're trying to do something that rhymes with paint, if you get what I'm saying. You see where I'm going with this? If you didn't watch yesterday's video, make sure you click it and just look at what I put on the thumbnail. Look at what the top word is. Cover up. So maybe this might not be a drowning, but maybe they might be trying to allegedly maybe point the finger in somebody else's direction. I don't know. I don't know. And maybe they're trying to do something that rhymes with paint. Read between the lines. Now, the last thing I'm going to tell you is, if you notice, former Officer Tatum, who was the mouthpiece for these boys, who did he interview? Warren, Tristan. Then the second interview, who did he interview? Warren again, Jackson Morgan. The lawyers, we call them on this channel Little Tyler and Little Eddie. The lawyers, who are they representing? Warren, Jax, Morgan. And they say, our boys didn't do this. We have nothing to do with this. Those three boys. Notice who is not being represented. Do the math. I don't want to say the name because I don't want this video getting taken down. I'm not afraid of them suing me or whatever, but I don't want this video getting flagged because they could do some stuff. Think about the Cito call. Damn it, who? You put it in the comment section. Who is not being represented? Who is talked about a lot before the second interview? Who is spoken about? Whose name started coming up? Who is a potential NFL football player whose father is an ex-football player, a punter? Who holds weight in that town? Imagine a small town, you're an NFL player, you're a future NFL, and your son's a future NFL player? How come he's not being represented? How come Little Tyler and Little Eddie are not being represented? How come Little Eddie and Little Tyler are not representing this person who I don't want to say? And his name has 4 letters. Damn it, who? Y'all, I know y'all will put it in the comment section. I know you guys know who I'm talking about. So to sum that all up, okay. So it's not going to come out that it's a drowning. Okay. You need his phone. You want his phone rushed, and you want it in 24 hours, and you no longer want to do it jointly together, like you agreed upon July the 15th. Why? Because July the 15th, y'all were prepared to just say, well, yeah, it was a drowning, and done it. But now, because of the good people on social media, the Cito call, the this, the that, the internet sleuths that have discovered all of these things, y'all know that you cannot just come out here and be like, yeah, it was just a drowning, because you know that the spotlight is on Mississippi. So that's why I said at the beginning that, not saying that I trust them, and because they're investigating a crime, do I think actually we will get justice? Because I'm not too sure the right people will be arrested for this crime. This is what I'm saying. But maybe they've gotten together and say, well, it won't be all of us, but maybe we'll just pin it on one person who is not represented by these two lawyers, and one person's name who you haven't heard in the past couple of weeks. 4 letters. Cito call. Damn it. Y'all know. Okay. That's all I'm going to say here for now. It's going to be a very, very interesting week. And let's also not forget, in that letter that I showed you a couple of minutes ago, they are still saying they want access to Nolan Wells' throat. And the independent autopsy is still not completed. They said, we're ready and available, Dr. Roger Mitchell, from Tuesday to Friday. Let us see the rest of the things that you were holding back. And I'll finish off with this. I love that Christine, y'all know how much I love Christine. I love that Christine Elmore, their legal team, Benjamin Crump's legal team, I love that they're no longer going to the internet. They're not doing this over press conferences. They're not doing this on Nancy Grace. They're not doing this on my channel. They're not doing this on Don Lemon's channel. They're not doing this on no one's platform. They are sending out legal documents to the DA. They know they got social media on their side. They're good. They're done with that. They're going right to the DA and making sure that they are not handing over Nolan's phone, because the DA knows what's in Nolan's phone, and Christine and Benjamin Crump know what's in Nolan's phone. This is a brilliant move by Benjamin Crump and Christine. And it is going to be a very, very interesting week. Make sure you all stay tuned, because you know that I will keep you up to date. Okay. Sound off below. Please, I can't say the name, but sound off. Please let me know. Put it all up in the comment section. So for the people who don't know, go into the comment section and find out, okay? When you guys are commenting, of course, also let me know what else you think about the DA and the cover-up and all of that stuff while you're letting everybody know who the name is that I cannot say. But when you're there in the comment section, please don't forget to do a few things. Don't forget to like. Do not forget to subscribe. When you are subscribing, please do not forget there's a bell beside the join button. It's very, very important. Click that bell. You get a drop-down menu. Move it from personalized to all so that you get notified every time we drop a video. And even for the people who have already subscribed, make sure you move that bell to a notification of all so you can be notified whenever we drop a video or if we go live. Also, for those of you who are on YouTube, please give this video a hype. We need to get, especially this video, out into the algorithm.
Hey guys, there is a new breaking update in the Nolan Wells case. And baby, I know I'm under the weather, but I had to get up and wake this up. You're not going to believe this. Okay, listen to me. The NAACP, as you probably heard, is joining the litigation. But you don't understand how Ben Crump and Ahmad R. Smith have said checkmate to the local good old boy network. And baby, sources are saying they are fuming at what's going on, but it's only going on because they overplayed their hand. They were too confident, too arrogant, too cruel, too cocky. They thought they were holding all of the cards, and Ben Crump and Ahmad R. Smith just flipped the table. Okay, I know you know about the feds possibly getting involved. I know you know about them maybe doing a civil rights lawsuit, but you don't know the chess game that is being played behind the scenes. And baby, Ben Crump is literally cha-cha-chaing electric slide to the right. He is running circles around them. And according to sources, the DA and the local Ocean Springs Township is spiraling. Y'all, let's get into this. Okay, first of all, let's talk about the news, okay? And it really was that the NAACP actually came in and said, well, guess what, baby? We are joining the good fight. The good fight against what? I don't know, because apparently it is a sin against Ocean Springs to ask, how did my child die? So the good fight against ignorance, against whatever. But listen to this. Okay, so here's the soundbite that sent them into a tizzy. The NAACP's Office of General Counsel is joining the legal team surrounding the death of Nolan Wells, okay? They said, we're taking up this fight to search for truth and transparency surrounding the death of Nolan Wells, said Christine Clark, the General Counsel for the NAACP. She said, I'm coming. And I'm bringing hell with me. You want to see us hooting and hollering and acting a fool, baby? We'll show you. We'll show you what it looks like when we turn our attention on this case. But hold on. She said, drawing on the association's long history of pushing for full and fair investigations when Black lives are lost under suspicious circumstances, we will help bring additional investigative resources to bear and work to ensure that no stone is left unturned in seeking answers and accountability for Nolan's family. Now, keep in mind, she also served as the U.S. Department of Justice as an Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights. Now, let me give you the thing. One, that means that she got motion, because a lot of times when you serve on something, you still have connections, you still have coworkers. So when you need to explain why I think you should turn, they trust you. They're more likely to say yes, and you're more likely to know the administrative tape. Now get this. Again, now here's how they played themselves, because again, they were too, and this is why they're saying Ocean Springs and that DA is melting down, because the good old boy network cannot protect them. Okay, let me take you through a rundown of what we're going to discuss. One, they can pierce the grand jury protective shield. Two, subpoenaing third party and out-of-state facilities, preserving evidence and preventing spoliation, the deposition cross-examination trap. Baby, they played themselves, all right? So where y'all want to talk? Well, actually, you know what? Before we get into the real, because I promise you think you've heard it, but you haven't. Ben Crump and NAACP and Ahmad and Eric Hart, they clocked Mississippi's tea from the beginning. But I wanted to play this one video that I think is really good for a lot of people to hear, because when people hear about a good old boy network, I don't think they quite know how it plays out in real life. And I think this young woman from the South is giving you the best breakdown, and it also lets you know what they're up against. And then we're going to get into the part where they are cha-cha slime, and also the way they are going to break open that autopsy. Baby, they get in that autopsy one way or another. Hold on. Okay, so this is one of the creators I follow, Kiki R. Real. I'll give you her screen name at the end of this, but listen to the way she explains it, because she is down south, and I think there's an angle that a lot of people are missing. And this is why it's so hard to get crime solved, because there is no text messages. There is, actually, let me just let her explain. Hold on.
Springs is going to have Ocean Springs back is code in Good Old Boy. See, down here in the South, this isn't new. It's called the Good Old Boy Network. See, it's one a small town, and the people who run it, the officials, the coaches, the teachers, the doctors, the judges, the people who have known each other for generations, their families are friends, and they take care of their own. And they do it quietly without having to say it out loud. No meetings, no long drawn out plan, just a quiet understanding, a mutual agreement.
I think that's what everybody's missing. And that's why they were so mad Ben Crump was coming, because they knew the heat he was bringing. And the NAACP, Ben Crump, and all these lawyers, they understand it's not that you have text messages saying, hey, I'm not saying anybody did, but dump Nolan's body here. Hey, make sure when the media comes, no, it's unspoken that we look out for each other. It literally is like organized crime where the crime boss doesn't, and I'm not saying they're involved in organized crime, but I think the structure where the crime boss, there is a goal and everybody works independently to reach that goal. Okay. And that's why why they're so cocky and arrogant, because through traditional stuff, they get away with it. Because they control the governor, they control the mayor, they control the local townspeople, they control everything. So basically what they say is law. But let's let her finish. I'm sorry, Kiki. Hold on.
We protect our own and we handle things before anybody from outside gets to have a say. When somebody says, well, the people in this town's going to take care of their own, we got each other's backs. What they're really saying is outsiders don't get to ask questions. You don't get to decide who gets justice. You don't get to say what happens. We will say what happens. We will be the ones to determine what the narrative is and what we want you to see, not see, believe, not believe, who gets reprimanded and who gets to get shit covered up. They get to decide what's get covered up. Like say a football star happened to commit murder, or say the son of a judge happened to witness a murder, things like that. And outsiders can be reporters, attorneys from outside of the town, and let's be real specific, the Black community. Even if there are the tokens like Tristan who think they're one of the good old boys. Maybe Nolan thought he was one of them too. We don't know. His daddy did say that he didn't see color. I don't know. But like we always know, a token gets spent. But I need you to understand why it's so important that Tristan said that and why we should all have our listening ears on high alert. Because him specifically trying to disprove Nolan's blackness, but then also counting himself as Black, even though he would only be half. And according to him, Nolan was 3/4, even though that's not how fucking race works. But then try to come for the Black community saying, I'm supposed to be one of y'all, but my white family's have my back. Like, boy, sit the fuck down. But him saying Ocean Springs is going to take care of Ocean Springs, we going to have each other's backs, that tells you exactly how this town and the people, the families that run this town, or the state of Mississippi as a whole, see this situation, this case, not as a family looking for justice for their son, but just as a community handling business. And they want everybody else to back off. That's why these boys are doing these interviews. That's why they chose a MAGA ex-cop Black podcast bullshit to do it on. Him saying Ocean Springs is going to take care of Ocean Springs is the entire history of the South summed up in one sentence. And some places in the North too, don't get it twisted. They're all saying the quiet parts really, really loudly. And your pattern recognition senses should be tingling like a motherfucker right now. Good old boy mentality, like the one Tristan subscribes to, like the one the MAGA boys and their families in this Ocean Springs community subscribe to, is the reason why so many Black people are found hanging and it gets ruled as suicide and no foul play. Even though we all know Black folk don't hang ourselves from trees. This is a deeply rooted system that America was built on, and it ain't gone nowhere.
So you guys, sorry guys. So this was Kiki. Let me just zoom in real quick and then we're going to get into the PowerPoint presentation. This was Kiki, gosh, what does it say? K-I-K-I Ariel? Kiki Ariel? K-I-K-I-A-E-R-E-A-L. Shut up. This dyslexia is kicking my butt. Anyway, right? Let's get into it. And let's wake this up, because now that you know what's going on, let's talk about the trap that they fell in. See, that's the thing. They thought the good old boy network was going to protect them from everything. And as much as we are hooting and hollering and yelling at us like, shut up, moon, crickets, we'll do what we want. But baby, you ain't doing nothing. So let's run down this, right? By the NAACP joining the fight, they now have a real chance, not just through the NAACP connections, not just for the respect. I know what's going on right now in America, but maybe the NAACP, as much as they hate it, is still the NAACP, okay? The civil rights law, as much as they hate it, maybe it's still civil rights law. And the thing is, when the good old boy network, it usually extends to the town. It doesn't go up to Washington, D.C., because this civil rights and this independent review, it comes out of D.C., not out of Mississippi F.B.A. But listen to this. In criminal law, the local prosecutor can legally seal autopsy and toxicology results under the rule of grand jury secrecy while the investigation is pending. However, this shield only protects the state's criminal docket. The civil discovery override, when the NAACP and Ben Crump file a federal civil wrongful death suit or a Section 1983 civil rights lawsuit, the rules of civil discovery take over. The federal rules of civil discovery, not state, and federal always override state. Do you see them? It's more encompassing. Federal always guides. A federal judge operates under a completely different authority than a local county DA. If the family's attorneys can show that the sealed medical records are necessary to prove their civil case claims, and they are, and let's not forget this federal civil case can be filed in DC. The federal court can issue a protective order discovery, forcing the state to hand over the unredacted files directly to the family's independent experts. Now, here's the thing. Between me and you, I think Ben Crump and all of them and Ahmad, and I think they already have this lined up. I think they have the civil lawsuit, at least the first filing. I think they have it ready to go. I also think that it's such an important thing that the NAACP is throwing their money where their mouth is, and they're going through their best lawyers, their investigators, cost be damned, and they're running that tab up. Good for Nolan Wells, right? Now get this, they can also subpoena third party or out-of-state facilities, okay? Now you guys know in the case, parts of Nolan's remains were reportedly outsourced to a specialized independent lab in Miami for advanced evaluation. That was the lungs, the stomach, and the throat, right? Local authorities may try to keep the resulting report secret, but their local jurisdiction ends at the Mississippi state line. It bypasses the local DA completely. A federal civil lawsuit grants the family's legal team the power to issue extrajudicial subpoenas. They can bypass and the Jackson County Courthouse entirely and serve a binding legal demand directly to the Miami Laboratories corporate headquarters. Now, in demanding the raw data, the subpoena doesn't just ask for a final summary. It demands the raw laboratory worksheets, chemical instrument readouts, tissue processing logs, and internal communications. The local DA has zero legal power to block an out-of-state private lab from complying with the federal civil order. Now, you see what I'm saying? Do you see why their arrogance, their cruelty, their power? You can have your lawyers on Officer DeJangle's podcast Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and twice on Sunday. And guess what? It doesn't matter because you're playing a small town game. You acted like you had all the pieces, but baby, Nolan Wells' parents, Ben Crump, is not the type of moon cricket y'all used to dealing with. Y'all used to dealing with Tristan. Y'all used to dealing with this and that. Y'all used to dealing with, and the thing is, I don't even want to make it is about race. But I don't want to make it about race in the fact that when the good old boy networks, even for the poor, if you're black, if you're anything outside of that ruling class, you will be trampled over. At least that's what I understood it in Birth of a Nation, To Kill a Mockingbird, Mississippi Burning, and any Southern history book you can find. But there's more, y'all. So they thought, they're just like, no, we're not giving you anything. Now, why do I think the NAACP got jumped? Because I think they got tipped off that they're planning to submit to the grand jury an incomplete file, come back with no bill. And once it's no bill, the prosecutors are like, well, nothing criminal happened, so we're not going to conduct an investigation. Nothing criminal happened. But the thing is, that only would have worked if Crump, the NAACP, Ahmad R. Smith, and also Eric Hart Law Firm had not got involved. Do you see where this is going? We know they wanted us to shut up. And let this be a lesson for anyone. Anytime the powers that be tell you to sit down, shut up, if only you act right, then you'll get what you want. They are doing the dummy move. They are literally trying to do what they did to Carmelo Anthony's parents. And I'm glad Christine, and I know it can't be easy, through the threats, through the intimidation, through the harassment, she still stood firm and she pushed forward. And because of that, I'm not into woo stuff, but have you ever noticed that Nolan Wells' parents look a lot like Emmett Till's parents? Just Google Nolan Wells' parents versus Emmett Till's parents. It's actually really eerie. And I feel like, I know y'all gonna be like, Tisa, don't come here with that woo stuff. But here I go, right? Actually, Actually, let me put this picture up. One second. Okay, so I found the picture, right? And I admit, maybe Nolan's daddy don't really look like Emmett's daddy. Nolan's mama looks like Emmett Till's mama. And the reason I say this, I feel like with the South and even with the nation, there is a karmic debt, the sins of your fathers that nobody in America wants to pay. And I don't mean you have to pay it through blood, but you do have to pay it through deep soul spiritual work. And I feel like this is going to be a constant theme. It is being revisited until the nation finally does what is right. You feel what I'm saying? I really feel like it is going to be revisited until the nation finally does what is right. But again, there's a, yeah, it needs to be. Okay, let me stop being woo-woo and get back into the stuff. I know you're like, T said, damn it, you always doing this. Listen, I got off of my, well, I don't want to say sick bed, but my sleepy, feeling under the weather bed to actually bring this. So yes, I am going to get into the woo-woo-woo. Anyway, let's get back into the last two things. Also, preserving evidence and preventing spoliation. The biggest risk of the state stalling is the natural degradation of biological evidence. By embedding the NAACP's legal muscle early, the family's team can file an immediate motion for evidence preservation. This legally prevents the state medical examiner from destroying, mismanagement, or disposing of any remaining tissue samples, histology sites, or microscopic blocks. Now, if the state decides to play dirty, and their arrogance to me knows no bounds, so they might, right? If the state allows the tissue to degrade after a civil preservation order is issued, it triggers severe spoliation of evidence penalties where the court legally instructs the jury to assume the ruined evidence would have proven the family claims trauma. Baby, they damned if they do and they damned if they don't. And I love to see it because they tried to be nice to y'all. They tried to work together and all you wanted to do was humiliate, act like this, out like that, bring in political, bring in this. Baby, you want to make it about race? Let's make it about race because at the end of the day, that's what I never understood about Mississippi. I don't care how many raccoons you bring. First of all, Ocean Springs only has 19,000 people. I don't care how many raccoons you bring in and march out for Ocean Springs saying, Master loves us. I don't care. It's the same way the South during segregation was marching out raccoons talking about, we love segregation. We get treated equally. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, what the dumbness that these people bought race into it, made it into race, made it into this, when y'all the one with the shitty track record. I guess, I guess. Anyway, right? And also, let's not forget the deposition cross-examining trap, right? Once a civil lawsuit forces the production of the sealed autopsy files and the out-of-state lab results, the family's independent pathologist, Dr. Roger Mitchell, can meticulously cross-examine the data. Now, here's the thing. They have to do it under oath and on camera. Armed with the raw files, the family's lawyers will pull the state medical examiners and technicians into civil dispositions. And get this. They can sit there and on the witness stand, expose their flaws. The state pathologist will be forced under oath to explain under penalty of perjury why they withheld specific throat structures from Dr. Mitchell, why they left major areas of trauma, like a 12 by inch deep soft tissue red discoloration on the back of Nolan's head, unanalyzed in their initial reports, and who exactly authorized the selected leaks to preferred media commentators. Baby, that's how you clear it, B. Congratulations to Nolan's mama and dad for not bowing down, not being scared, and realizing that he deserves better, we deserve better, and not backing down, right? To the Good Old Boy Network. Now, that said, we do not know what happened to Nolan. We do not know who, if anyone, played a role. We do know that we are sick of Ocean Springs, and by Ocean Springs, I mean the people that claim to speak for them, acting like, asking questions, being curious, trying to rectify and make a timeline that actually makes sense because what they told us makes no sense. Is somehow an attack on Ocean Springs. At some point, they just tell it on themselves. But hey, that's just me. Listen, last thing I can say, the local DA played a short-sighted game, believing they had control over the county and the grand jury. And you know what? You were right. You do. But thank God for that civil rights division in the federal government. Thank God for the fact that Ben Crump, what's his name? Colin Kaepernick. Thank God for Terrell Owens, Tyler Perry. Who else? Oh, Byron Allen. Thank God for everybody. And I guess myself too. Thank God for everybody that donated and said, not this time, because united we are strong. Okay. Hey guys, listen, another update in the Nolan Wells case, and we need to go back to the beginning and revisit what you thought and what you know about Wyatt. All right. Now, if you guys haven't watched my old videos, what are you really doing? Because they're really good. But let me get to the point, okay? Wyatt had always been a mystery. Through all this, he has not lawyered up. He's been suspiciously quiet, and his grandfather, and his parents are wrapped up in everything. Now, let me just start off by saying, not saying that they did it, but ever since I got this info, I've been looking at them different. Listen, Wyatt, the missing link, what's going on? Now, let me take you through what I'm going to show, right? That somehow Wyatt called once Javon's mom and, of course, Nolan's parents retrieved the phone. We need to revisit that because a lot of you guys were doubting when I said that Wyatt actually called the police, okay? Actually called the police on Nolan's parents as everybody was rolling over to search the boat. What is in the boat? What could be hiding in the boat? And why did he call 911 on people? He was also they were also tracking Nolan's phone. So why they thought he was missing and they knew he had the phone, why they were tracking the phone to find out the parents' next move. But then we have to get into the parents. We have to get into the police department and we have to get into all this information I just found out. All right, you guys, are you ready for the PowerPoint presentation? Because I do have receipts to back up everything I'm saying. Let me just do a disclaimer. I am not saying I know if what happened to Nolan. I am not blaming anyone. I am saying that the stories are not adding up. People are acting suspicious and we need to address this. Okay, with no further ado, let's get into this. Okay, turn your volume up because this is the conservative ex-officer Django when he was interviewing Warren, Morgan, and Jax. All right, let's get into this. Listen very carefully about what they talk about calling the police on.
I was with Wyatt at the time after we left Jax's house that night. I was with Wyatt, and one person we were with saw that their location was actually headed towards Wyatt's house.
One of the people we were with, they will not release the name of who that was. One of the people we were with saw that their location, that they are talking about is the Nolan's rescue party, okay? Various people between Nolan's parents, Javon's mom and a bunch of people that were literally going crazy trying to find Nolan. This is also 1 a.m. in the morning after they bust into Jack's house, demanded the phone and the car keys. Okay, let me repeat that. One of the people we were with saw that they were headed toward Wyatt's house. What does that tell you? They don't want to give the name, but somebody, Nolan, one of his friends, he was sharing location with. And after they know Nolan was missing, and after they knew that the parents were looking, they looked at the share my location from where Nolan, I'm assuming, was sharing location, and they saw they would headed to Wyatt's house. Now, the funny thing is, right? They didn't say when they left, they didn't say, oh, we're going to Wyatt's house. They were just tracking their location and they guessed they were going to Wyatt's house. Why? I believe, and again, that's just my opinion. I'm going to show you the evidence. You let me know. I believe it was a guilty conscience. Okay, let's continue.
And so Wyatt got on the phone with 911 and was like, hey, these people are on the way to my house or already at my house. My mom and my dad are there alone and they know nothing about this.
Okay, let's react. Hey, Wyatt, Instead, first of all, to look at people that were looking for Nolan and freak out and call 911 because they told you when they left Jack's house, where's his stuff on the boat? Where's the boat? Oh, it's parked at my mom and dad's house. And they ran over to search the boat. They ran over to search the boat because it didn't make sense the way they were acting. Everybody was off. Nolan's parents and Javon's mom and whoever was in that search party, baby, they trust their gut. And why wouldn't they look on the boat? Because there might be something that could let them know what happened to Nolan. Let's not forget, everybody was saying, we don't know where Nolan is. We think he might be drunk on someone's house. So instead of calling your parents and saying, hey, Nolan's people are on their way over looking, they want to search the boat. Nolan's people are on the way over. You call 911. Wyatt, the person who's been suspiciously quiet in all this, you call 911 and you say, hey, there's people over to my house. My parents don't know anything about this. Know anything about what? Know anything about what? My parents don't know anything about this. Meet them there and stop them from searching the boat. Why else would you call 911? Why wouldn't you call your parents? Why wouldn't you call, by this time, Bart was there. Why wouldn't you call Nolan's mom? Why wouldn't you do anything? And most importantly, why wouldn't you join in on the search? Because what do you have to hide? There's nothing on your boat, right? Okay, but get into this. This is the boat. This is the boat. Look at these people. Look at all this fish on the boat. But more importantly, look at where these people's ankles and whatnot are hiding. Humans could lay flat in that boat and you would never, ever see them. You would never, ever. The boat is not shallow. It is actually very deep. And you would never, ever, ever see anyone. Now, there is a video surfacing that looks like an arm or something comes up and then drops that down. That has not been verified. And by verified, I mean, like, I'm sure Nolan's mom, and there's Ahmad, there's Eric Hart, there's Ben Crump. They're all doing separate things, but they are also, I think Eric Hart is the one doing the investigation. I'm sure Eric Hart is right now having that video analyzed so we can actually get God to honest proof. But again, could someone be laying flat in that boat? Could somebody be hiding or hidden in the boat? Yes, it is a possibility. Now, does anybody think it's odd that Wyatt, whose grandfather is listed as a interested party. He's a not invested. He's a party the same way Bart was listed, but none of the other kids were in the MDR report. Now, keep in mind what you just heard Morgan tell you that Wyatt did. Okay. Now let's go to the MDMR report because Wyatt's name keeps popping up and Wyatt's name keeps getting protected. All right. Wyatt's boat, the Triton, I believe, somebody can lay flat and maybe be hiding in the boat or hidden in the boat. I want to direct you guys' attention to this because I think when you take the words that Wyatt did and the fact that Wyatt really did call the police on Nolan's search party, that was just because it sounds like he was scared ishless that his boat might be searched. And this is the same night, early morning, July 5th, 1 a.m. in the morning, July 5th. This is after they had told on July 4th at 11 p.m., Nolan's missing. I want to direct your attention to this, right? Because it's very important. At approximately 1,630 hours, mind you, keep in mind, the MDMR, Miss Christine said in an interview that she felt like she was getting a runaround between the police and the Coast Guard. Warren promised to call the Coast Guard, but it seems like he said he called a buddy who was somehow connected to it. So that was the first lie. You never called Coast Guard. You never made an official report, even though it seemed to me you were trying to lead the mom to believe that you guys were handling this, right? Let's go back to that. Before the Coast Guard or the police got involved, the MDMR were the ones taking the lead on this investigation. Nobody else was involved. They were taking the lead out of this, that, and a third. I want to draw your attention to this paragraph in the MDR report. This has been verified as the official report. It's been circling all over. At approximately 1630 hours, that's 4:30, Officer Strickland contacted Wyatt Preon's mom. There we go again with that Wyatt. Jennifer Preon, who stated that Wyatt had already spoken to the Jackson County Sheriff Department investigators earlier in the day, but would cooperate in any way they were needed. Officer Strickland was given verbal consent to view the Garmin GPS on the Wyatt's vessel. Officer Strickland observed the track lines showing the Preon's vessel location on Horn Island to narrow down the search for Nolan Wells. The GPS displayed that the vessel was located near the western tip of Horn Island, right? On July 4th. Now, here's the part that really freaked me out, and it never sat right to me, and now I'm beginning to actually see why. This last sentence. Officer Strickland, mind you, keep in mind, prior to that, they had given names of the girl they think Nolan was with, even though they knew it was Katie. How do they know it was Katie? Because they were texting with Katie, okay? I'm not saying they were best friends with Katie, but they knew enough about who the person was with. Trayson even said that he said some slick-ish to Nolan about Katie before he left because he used to mess around with Katie, right? They gave this girl's name that was Lainey. The officer was stopping everywhere and knocking on doors because they had been led to believe by the friends that Nolan was drunk on somebody's couch sleeping it off. So they went and knocked on the doors of everybody that was supposedly there. They knocked on Lainey's door. Hey, they said that you last saw this missing boy. He stayed on the island with you. She looked right at the cop and said, no. I mean, I know who he is. And but the thing is, I have not seen or talked to him in over a year. She also said, I was never on Horn Island. I was on Petite Boise. Tell me why these guys gave a girl that they knew wasn't there, because they said it's a small community. Instead of giving Katie's contact info and Katie's real name, you gave, I believe, a red herring. That's what it looks like to me. Maybe I'm wrong. They knock on the door of other people that the friends had told them were present. Nobody's answering the door. They finally say, you know what? Let me stop at Wyatt's house, okay? The mom was like, he's already cooperated. They're like, yeah, that's great, but that's what the police, and we're MDMR, and we're the ones searching for him right now. So can we look at the GPS, right? She's like, okay, and she lets them in. You guys read it, to look at the GPS. That's when they take down the GPS footage. Look at this, what happened while he was looking at the GPS, guys. While Officer Strickland, who I would say MDMR seemed at this point to be the only people looking for Wyatt, listen to what happened.
Revolutionary salute. Guys, kids, for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is real life. Absolutely appreciate the love, Queen. Salute.
Officer Strickland was notified at the moment where he was at Wyatt's house taking all that info. Officer Strickland was notified that Jackson County Sheriff's Department was taking the lead on this missing person investigation. The MDMR officer would be in a supporting role for the remainder of the investigation. Now, I don't know if you guys know what supporting roles are, but when you are a supporting role, you do not have a right to collect evidence. You don't have a right to interview witnesses. You are supporting, which means you fall back. You only come up to the front if they ask you for your help. But isn't it interesting that at this point, Nolan's mom said she was getting a runaround. The police and the Coast Guard chose not to look for him. The MDMR, the only people that weren't like this with all those boys' parents, were actually conducting an investigation and getting to the bottom of stuff. They were the ones that got to that stupid fake Katie alibi. They were the one, honestly, that got us this information that the boys still cannot explain with the CETO call. You guys, this information is information that the boys can still not explain away. They said right here, if you look closely, that they were out to sea sinking when they called CETO. This is from the MDR report. This is the actual GPS information they got off of Wyatt's boat. Okay? I think this is what everybody was trying to hide. And this is why they took the MDR case, because the MDMR seemed like they were actually investigating a missing person threat. It shows that there is a fundamental inconsistency at best and lie at most. I talk about this in my other video. They said that they were sinking. That's impossible. They did not leave Horn Island. They were in the same place in Horn Island, aground, from 11:15 till 4 4:31 p.m. It's right there in the GPS info that they took from the boats. If you guys will actually remember, the frantic distress call to Seatow reporting the boat was taken on water and the bilge pump had failed was placed at approximately 4:00 p.m., shortly before the boat's recorded departure from Horn Island. Now, I said this before in my last video. BART released video and pictures via Officer Kuhn Tatum, right? Showing they were in the middle of the sea. There were 7 people standing on the boat, it looked like 2 women, 5 guys. Wyatt was sitting there on the phone in the captain's chair. Bart was supposed to be throwing rope and towing them, and that was evidence that sea tow was not needed because Bart was towing them. However, by their own GPS that they tried to bury through the MDMR report, that could not have happened, which is why everybody's asking for the timestamps are those pictures. That could not happen because they called Seatow at 4:00. The boat did not move until 4:31 p.m., which means that call to Seatow was a fake call, meaning you couldn't been sinking. You didn't need help. You said you were at 31 feet of water where your GPS told us that you were in the same place you had been since you got to Horn Island. It was only till after you left Horn Island at 4:31, 30 minutes after you made that Seatow call, that the boat even moved. Keep in mind, they also say during the recorded dispatch call from the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources archive, the teenager on board, that's Wyatt, stated they were near the west tip of Horn Island and needed immediate help. However, the actual tow was ultimately never dispatched or completed because the dispatcher spoke with the captain, who noted that Jerry, Wyatt's grandfather, and owner of the boat communicated that the teens had managed to address the pump issue and was no longer required. You guys, this distress call was made 30 minutes. On top of that, if you were sinking, why would you go out into the middle of the ocean when there's all these boats and people and friends and family around that could assist you? It doesn't make sense. There is a 30-minute gap that nobody can explain. And I believe nobody can explain it. I think even though the 30-minute gap cannot be explained, the one thing that I do know is, unlike the police and the Coast Guard, let's not forget all those people have dink links to the police. The MDMR on July 5th, early in the morning at 9 a.m. was flying drones trying to find. However, the police and the Coast Guard, and I believe the police, said they didn't have anything to worry. The MDMR were the only people conducting a real investigation. And isn't it funny that once they were looking at Wyatt's boat and taking GPS stuff, all of a sudden they got the call that said, yo, fall back. You don't have the right to continue this investigation. And once that happened, there was nothing else. Again, what does this mean? What does it mean, right? What does it mean? I think it means a lot, but I think the pieces are starting to actually fall in place. And I believe we are starting to see the clear reason why asking what happened to Nolan is the same as attacking the city and the atmosphere we're in, that asking what happened to Nolan, that whole clique is acting like the answer will destroy those boys' lives forever. And they are fighting like hell to make sure we can't find it. You guys, I hope this information wasn't, again, Wyatt called the police on to stop the mom's search party for Nolan, called the police so that they could not search the boat. The boat is not shallow. Somebody can easily lay flat in 2 parts of the boat. On top of that, we saw that the MDMR search, which were the only ones seemingly searching for Nolan, got shut down as soon as he showed up at Wyatt's house. Literally, the police said, fall back, we're taking over. I do believe that Wyatt's role in this has been understated. He's been very quiet, but I think they need to come out and answer questions, because what the hell? What the hell? Like, what? Again, this makes sense.
and Wyatt's dad had a secret friendship that we weren't even in.
Yeah, they were like best friends.
We would go over to Wyatt's house, and Nolan, we would all be in the backyard, whatever, doing something, and Nolan would be inside on the couch with Wyatt's dad, and they would just be cutting it up all night.
Yeah.
Shit start to seem like it's fun and games until you start to think about the Colin Kaepernick documentary on Netflix. Things start to seem like it's all funny until you start to think about the movie Get Out. Why in the hell haven't Wyatt came out and spoke on Nolan's behalf? Were they cool, or could it have been allegedly that Wyatt's dad was sizing Nolan up or trying to see how fast he is or trying to just pick his brain? We don't know with these people. And I'm not saying anybody's guilty. All I am saying is, what happened to Nolan Wells? Where is Nolan Wells' organs? Why is the DA seemingly working against us? Why is the governor in Mississippi working against us, saying Ben Crump and Al Sharpton is causing a division out there in Mississippi? These are the questions we still have. Why was Nolan Wells' phone wiped out? Today, we will be reviewing some videos and analyzing what's going on the internet, y'all. Before we get into that, y'all make sure y'all hype this video. Y'all make sure y'all are subscribing to the channel. And make sure y'all write in the comments section, justice for Nolan Wells. Check this out, y'all.
And they sent me to his house, which that boat had never even been in the water. Wyatt did. I never even really talked to Warren. The whole time I was in the house, I spoke with Wyatt. Wyatt is the one who had the phone that supposedly was in his truck or whoever. But Wyatt is who I talked to. I never talked to Warren. Okay. I'm not sure why Warren is doing that. But I turned the camera around directly on Wyatt and told my sister outside somewhere. They said it was in the truck. I'm not sure where it was at. It took them at least 15 minutes to bring me the phone. By this time, the boys will start, because Wyatt started getting jazzy at the mouth. So my son, Jalen, was like, hey, you better watch your tone. Like, don't get smart, my mama.
Right.
Because we trying to see what Nolan, because we trying to figure out why y'all seen y'all ass up here chilling and Nolan missing. So that's when I asked again, where's the phone? She's gone. That's when he told me she was going to get it. I said, oh, she must have to go back to Horn Island truck outside. Now, mind you, we had to pass all the cars to walk in the house. It's just it's a bunch of lies. I don't feel the need to, like I said, when they go to the mentioning Javon, I'm going to say and stand up behind mine every single time. As far as me and that nugget shit, I don't feel the need to explain anything to any of y'all.
Secret Service Sam here with a Nolan Xavier Wells update. And there's this odd letter. It looks like a journal entry that just hit the internet. Let me know what you guys think. It says July 4th. We go to the party, the island. We had alcohol. I may have drank half, if not a whole seltzer throughout the entire time. Was worried about returning for his second season, and he didn't want to ruin his chances. Cell service sucks here. Imagine something happening to you and not being able to call out for help. Nolan side eyes and dismisses the comment. Nolan snaps a photo or a video of scenery or something. Wyatt had been sniffing the bug shug all morning. Wyatt tries to grab his phone and has to put it, and Nolan jerks his phone because this feels like what would lead to Nolan's death later. Approximately 12 hours later, Nolan was already hanging on an inkling he shouldn't go to the pool party. Him and Wyatt have had some animosity for a while because Nolan was back and forgave easily. and didn't hold grudges. He was the peaceful friend, the conflict solver in most of his social group. He had several, maybe 3 friends, grumps. I can't read the rest of them. Nolan was only put on the boat to be transferred back to the island around 3 to 5 a.m. July 6th. That's why he wasn't found initially on the island. He was stored somewhere cool and dark to keep from decompositioning a minute, but it was summer. He already started to have a hint of smell permeating the shaded area. It's an area of property him and his friends hiked or hung around in. And yes, it's one of his friends' properties. Somebody got a farm or hiking trail, maybe both. Somebody cried. Somebody is scared to speak. Somebody was threatened. All of them are being haunted. Nolan decided to unfriend this group and they couldn't accept it, the ultimate motive. Again, it's hard to read this letter. The writing kind of looks that of a female. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments. Secret Service, Sam out, Samson for president.
So it looks like the females out there are beginning to write down in their journals what had happened. And come to find out, this is the second person that said that they was on the nose candy. And maybe this explains why somebody is losing all this weight. And this explains why Wyatt called the police so fast when people started to come to his house. It said the body was about to start decomposing. They had to store it in a cool area. But I'm happy that God is putting the spirit on some people to journal, to come out. I believe God is building up the story to drop a bombshell on they asses, because Mississippi are used to the black folk out there accepting their behavior, and they're frustrated that the world won't conform to their behavior. And you better believe the answers are out there. Do y'all remember when the lady walked around and showed you how many cameras was out there in Ocean Springs? Somebody knows something.
Well, I guess we're not the only ones who realize that Jax has really been talking a whole lot than he probably needed to. Well, for us, we love that he's been doing a whole lot of talking and sharing a whole lot of more than what them, the panel, has shared with us. And maybe they realize it really isn't that funny anymore, huh? Because Jack's attorney is like, sir, you need to zip it, and called that other thing over there and told them that they will not be doing the podcast for next week. That's interesting. I guess Jax has talked enough, and so now he's going to he's on punishment. The attorney put Jax on punishment, and I'm pretty sure Warren did too, because that look that Warren was giving him when he was doing all that talking. But I digress. But I'm sure we'll see Jax again. Maybe.
Listen.
He was the peacemaker of our friend group. I mean, anytime anybody had beef over somebody, over a girl or whatever, he would go over there and start talking to him. He's like, man, I think this guy's actually pretty cool. I don't think we should. I think we should become friends with this guy. Yeah. And lo and behold, we would somehow become friends with the dude, even though he's getting with one of our other buddies' exes or whatever.
Even though he's getting with one of our buddies' exes or whatever. That's why he can't do no more interviews. And one thing I want to tackle, what he said prior to that. When you in a group with guys and you're the only nice one, and everybody got some shit going on with their spirit, where as though they hate when people are peacemakers, nobody's going to like that person that's a peacemaker. I don't give a damn how much they laugh on Brandon Tatum's podcast. That's just the way it works. A lot of guys like confrontation. People think women are catty and no, guys are catty as hell. Some people love negative energy. So with him explaining Nolan and how he is, I understand where the hatred collide. I understand why people wouldn't like Nolan. I see why. And I also see why they said he need to shut the hell up. So I found this guy saying that Mississippi could get Nolan Wells' mother for tampering with evidence for holding on to the phone. But it was okay when his fake ass friends had the phone. Ain't nobody had shit to say. This don't make no sense, bro. Check this out, man.
This off my chest, guys. It's been bothering me for days. I'm going to do a longer video on this next week. But I come to find out that after there's been allegations that the phone was tampered with, Nolan Wells' phone was tampered with, that law enforcement doesn't even have the phone, this most critical piece of evidence. That means other people in the family have gone through the phone. This is a number one piece of evidence that prosecutors and police get in an investigation like this. I'm sorry, and don't give me it's the family and she's grieving and it's Mississippi and we don't trust law enforcement. This is not the way investigations are conducted. The tail is wagging the dog. They don't get to decide that they're going to hold on to critical pieces of evidence. If this were happening in any other case and they refuse to surrender it, or law enforcement doesn't get a search warrant in order to get it, people would argue that this is withholding of evidence, tampering with evidence, things of this nature. I don't know what went on behind the scenes here, but from a law enforcement perspective, as a former prosecutor, 30 years experience as a criminal trial lawyer, ran a prosecutor's office, certified criminal trial lawyer, the idea that a critical piece of evidence like the phone is not in possession of law enforcement, that the chain of custody has been broken, that people are accessing the phone when the cloud can be manipulated, 1,000 things. If Nolan Wells is the subject of foul play, trust me when defense lawyers are going to say law enforcement's failure or the family's failure to turn that phone over could have led to critical information that was tampered with, and that the phone should be suppressed as any evidence if there's evidence on there of foul play. The tail is wagging the dog. You knocked me over with a feather. And I'm sorry, like I said, don't give me the family thing. Don't give me the Mississippi law enforcement thing. You don't have a right to withhold evidence from the government. You don't have a right, contrary to what the family's representatives are saying, that this happens all the time. Bull. It doesn't happen all the time. Anyone here knows, if you have a reasonable mind and if you're being fair-minded, that one of the first things that you do is get the phones, search warrants if they're not going to surrender them, and if they don't.
Shut up. You on their side. We don't trust none of y'all. No, don't give up no phone. You down with them. Get out of here. Miss Christine Wansley, please don't give up that phone. I don't care what they gonna argue, because it was okay for them to have a damn phone. You can't have your own son phone? They act like they don't understand corruption. This shit is looking corrupt out there. Can't nobody be trusted out there. What don't you understand?
God is such a mercy. You see what I'm saying?
All right. And then y'all done took y'all for y'all done already had his phone, but now y'all done took my phone too.
Right, because that was emergency. They got to get up out of there. But see, that call is gonna tell y'all we gonna get some justice for nephew, man. Because that call to Cito told us everything we need to know, and they can say what they want to say. That call told us.
Were they invited to the funeral?
Everybody was invited to the funeral.
Oh, another lie.
Another lie. So, hey,
and Jalen and Javon was at the funeral, and Jalen and Javon were pallbearers for those that were seen.
Right.
Yeah, they were there.
Right.
Yeah, because they got on that interview.
The phone, whoever misunderstood, the phone was locked when I got it. However, I could see where everybody had been calling, but the phone was locked. And none of us knew the code, and none of us tried to get in the phone. But the phone was locked, sweetheart.
These
so let me ask you this. Was the phone and the keys somehow end up back at the same house, right? Because Warren trying to say that when y'all came and got the phone, they was at, hey, y'all can't say the names. I can say the name, Jack's house. and then I know they went
the phone and the keys was at Jack's house.
See, that's what I said. Some people
they lying in every interview.
They just be lying, man.
The phone and the keys were at Jack's house, and we went back because when I got the phone again, we went to find the boat, which was somewhere else. We went back to the house. We met Christine and Elmore.
Y'all see how comforting it is when you hear our sisters speaking to each other? You hear all that comfort, but when we just listen to the dude right there, you see how uneasy it felt? That I'm telling you, it's a spirit. It's a vibration. We don't share their spirit, bro. Listen to our sisters. Listen.
There because the car was there too. So
when they get together. Yes, it did.
they were both at the same spot.
Is there any more questions y'all want to ask Shima or Simply while they still can?
Yeah, because yeah, I'm about to get on the speed, y'all.
My twin at the bottom, Simply. Shima. I know, Shima. Follow me, boo. Please. Just
I know,
follow
man.
me.
Y'all, I'm telling y'all, we have you guys back 100%. You have all support from this panel. We love you guys. We have been fighting and advocating for you guys. We love Miss
Thank you so much.
We think that she is our sister and our mother as well. Nolan is our nephew. You know what I'm saying? And we really,
Yes,
I mean,
and she is an amazing person. And all this bashing her is insane. Nolan lived with his mom. Nolan has always lived with his mother. In every house his mother has had, he has lived with her.
Clock it.
The only time Nolan did not live with his mom was when he went to college.
Because they were trying to say, one of the little brothers said he stayed with us for 3 years. One little brother. They just been lying. They need to be arrested, man.
All right, y'all. So my other observation that I saw in an interview with Warren. Warren said you can literally see off the deck.
Literally almost see down to the deck.
But I thought you guys were sinking. And
it's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down now.
Now he also says that you could see in that picture, or he meant video, that what I call the staged Cito video. He said that everyone is completely casual.
As you can see in that picture, everybody is completely casual while Wyatt's on the phone with Cito.
So that leads me to the end. Where are you guys sinking? Where is it sinking? Where is the water? Since we can see. So I now realize what you guys are trying to do with that fake Cito demonstration reenactment video that you guys made, because you're trying to use that video, which you guys are already saying that that's the actual video from the day that you guys made a distress call that Wyatt was on the call with Cito. But you guys are going to do is take that, the official MDMR, you're going to edit that, and then you're going to overlap it with that Cito video reenactment. Because I noticed that you guys recorded it. Remember, you guys recorded it, but where's the sound to that? Where's the distress in that video that is the reenactment one? Y'all ain't slick. I'm on.
Oh! This is why Brandon Tatum keeps pushing. In that little video clip, he was on the phone with Cito. He says it over and over and over and over. This is witchcraft, y'all. He's trying to implant in everyone's mind that photo and that short snippet of them being told, where you see Wyatt on the phone, that he was on the phone with Cito. We don't know who he was on the phone with. And she's saying that they're going to overlap the audio with that video to try to implant that in everyone's mind. This is witchcraft. This is how the media pushes narratives. People are a visual people. They like to see things. And when you see something, you automatically take it as facts. And they looked way too relaxed versus the audio. The video, they look way too relaxed. But that's the end of the video. Y'all get in the comment section. Y'all let me know what y'all think about Miss Christine Wansley handing over the phone. I think today time is going to be up with that 48-hour window that she was given. I pray that she don't give up that phone, because that would be the last piece of evidence that we have. Also, y'all let me know what y'all think about them pulling the boys off of future interviews, because they've been talking so much. I want them to keep talking. I don't want them to get pulled off no interviews. I want them to keep talking so they can tell on themselves. Remember, if you want to figure out if somebody's lying or not, all you do is gotta let them talk. They are going to get emotional. They're going to get relaxed. It's just like an interrogation room. This is why the detectives give you snacks. They give you coffee. Yeah, what do you want? So you can relax and feel comfortable. And that's what that podcast is allowing them to do. Sit back, relax, and tell on your damn self. Another thing, I think it was interesting when they said Wyatt's dad was so cool with Nolan. It made me think that he was cool with him because he probably was sizing him up, allegedly. But y'all get in the comment section. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this, man. Because come to find out, Wyatt is not cool with Nolan like he been on these podcasts saying he was. This is why it seems so unauthentic. He was like a brother to me, and not answering the questions directly. We on to y'all.
Nolan Wells case. There has been a dramatic turn. I feel like we are starting to know why Warren looks very, very sick. He looks as if something is almost eating at him. Now, I have received some information and I have redacted the person's screen information, but we're going to get into it. Because what I've been told is there was some kind of fight as it relates to Nolan's phone. As we recall from the very beginning, there was an argument to get Nolan's phone back. And if you guys recall, Trayston came out and said that the phone situation was not him. I'm sorry, it was not Nolan. In fact, it was him. We don't believe that, and I'm going to tell you why. The argument was about a phone. I'm being told that there was a fight, which we already know by Warren's account that his brother was in a fight. Well, I'm being told that that fight was recorded and that his brother got his tail beat. And that they were mad because Nolan had recorded the incident. Now, if you guys look, there's Nolan right there in the blue shorts. However, the lies that we have been told was that this fight had nothing to do with Nolan. Let's get into it. Actually, that's a little bit small. Let me see if I can make that bigger. Guys, remember the argument. It was Nolan asking for his phone back. It was because he recorded a fight which a certain individual lost. I believe they're referring to Warren's brother. Warren has already stated that his brother had a fight. But Warren said that his brother won. I don't think it matters if he got his ass beat or if he lost. But for some reason, it mattered enough that Nolan is no longer here. They were mad about it. Nolan did get on the boat at this time, and he got into a fight with an individual. Nolan got hurt bad, or I believe got choked out, and by accident used too much force. This is why you hear that Nolan is he dead? Because he was dead on the boat. So as I stated before, I don't believe it was something intentional, but let's make sure you guys can follow this story. If you have a fight with somebody and you accidentally unalive them, you call the police, you go to court, you have to follow the proper protocol. When you cover it up, it is very much intentional because intentionally you covered it up. So when I say I believe it was an accident, I'm saying originally. I also believe that they worked covering this up. I want you guys to understand, as you saw that deleted Snapchat, there was an individual, or it could have been more individuals that say she saw Nolan in a fight around the time that they got ready to leave. So now the story has changed. Originally, everybody said Nolan was trying to get his phone back, but somehow that narrative was changed. Nolan was there. He was in a fight on the island. He was trying to get his phone back, and he did board the boat. This is the message. Of course, I took off this person's identifying information, and they say the exact same thing. Nolan recorded a fight.
Heartbreaking interview this morning, and they talked about the events leading up to when they found Nolan's body. And Christine said she noticed she hadn't heard from him and started calling Nolan at 8:30. Remember what Warren said? I was the first one who noticed he was missing. I called to get Christine's number. I called Christine. I told her I knew people at the Coast Guard and was going to call them. I was on the phone with them for 20 minutes. Where's that audio? I firmly believe the only reason he called Christine was because they had his phone and they knew she was trying to contact him. They called her at 11, whatever time they called her, to ask if she'd seen him. They knew she hadn't seen him. She was calling his phone and they had the phone. That's what a narcissist does. I did it. I was the hero. I was trying to find him. No. And then the father said when he was on the island, he went back and he said, no, I knew my son wasn't there. Parents know.
Parents know. That's correct. Warren gives narcissist vibes a narc. Yeah, he gives that. I. And I identified this in my previous video. He makes it seem like he just called Christine. But when you listen to Christine, she had called Nolan, I believe, 3 times, trying to reach him when they had his phone.
And he knew when he got to that house that Jax was not trustworthy. He knew not to trust what was coming out of his mouth. Nolan was like a brother to me, speaking in past tense when they were just looking for him.
Nolan was like a brother to me. If you guys recall my previous video, we talked about, they said the family came to their homes asking questions. And what did they do? They called the police on Nolan's family, but yet saying Nolan is a brother. I told y'all before, I feel like Nolan was some kind of sick joke to these individuals.
And remember that audio of that unknown girl when we were at Ava's house? We were trying to find out where Nolan was and said, we tried to call him. Then Warren said, oh, wait, I have his phone. Let me call that Katie girl. The Katie that no one knew all of a sudden had their number. And we still don't know who that girl is or if that audio is real. But
so let's get into something else. As they do interviews, they really tell on themselves. But let's get into some facial expressions, because you guys know what we do while they're on here disparaging Black people. I believe it was it Warren's brother? Quote me if I'm wrong. Or was it Wyatt's brother? One of the brothers, Pyron, was on this good old internet making racist comments about Black people, trying to monetize them Black people. One thing us Black people gonna do is we gonna be all up in your business. Let's get into these facial expressions.
I mean, we loved him dearly.
What is the smirk for?
I mean, we loved him dearly.
Look at that. Look at that. Why does he look so evil? Remember when I told you guys in my previous video, I said the reason why they're watching each other is because they want to know when to jump in. You want to jump in when you see the person struggle so that they don't look so obvious.
So, yeah, Nolan was like a brother to us.
Look at that. He said, ew. Ew, he's nasty. Nolan is like a brother and you make that face? Yeah, I'm a facial expression person too. And if you watch them, you'll know exactly what I'm thinking.
I can say without a doubt, nobody wants
What is that?
to know what happened to him
Nervous.
more than we do. I mean, we want to know what.
I mean, Nolan was like a brother.
Look at Skeletor. This boy has lost so much weight. Is it food or is it something else?
To all of us. I mean, we loved him dearly.
We loved him dearly. Look at that expression. That don't look like love to me.
So, yeah, Nolan was like a brother to us.
Why do they keep saying the same thing? Nolan was like a brother. Please stop.
And I can say without a doubt, nobody.
Look how evil he looks. Did he do it? This is weird.
He wants to know what happened.
I mean, we loved him dearly.
So, yeah, Nolan was like a brother to us. And I can say without a doubt, nobody wants to know what happened to him more than we do. I mean, we want to know what.
I mean, Nolan was like a brother to all of us. I mean, we loved him dearly.
So, yeah, Nolan was like a brother to us. And I can say without a doubt, nobody wants to know what happened.
I mean, we loved him dearly.
Enough of that. It's just disgusting. Let's get into this. The visible difference in Warren's face. Out of all of these guys, and I could be incorrect, let me know if I'm wrong. Why does he have so much weight loss?
Sam here with a Nolan Xavier Wells update. And something a lot of people are pointing out is Warren and how much his face has changed since just the first interview a few weeks ago to right now. And it begs the question, like, he looks like he has Ozempic face, in my opinion, but is something eating away at him? Now, obviously, this has to be very stressful, all of a sudden becoming this unwanted celebrity. He talks about where he went into a restaurant and was threatened and whatnot, but this doesn't look like weight loss by a man who lost his best friend and he just hasn't slept or hasn't eaten and is just doing everything he can to figure out what happened to his friend. It looks like something is literally eating away at his soul. That's all I'm saying. It's just my opinion. What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comments.
Well, it definitely looks as if something is literally eating away at him. I mean, in the first picture, opposed to the second picture, he must be half his weight size. He is visibly falling apart. It doesn't look like weight, because I lost my best friend. Because when you get on these Negro people podcasts, this Negro sellout podcast, all you do is spew hate about his family, about, their parenting. I mean, that's not love. I feel like you even hate Nolan more now that everybody is looking at you. But just look how he looks. What is eating away at Warren? Totally. Face looks totally different. But I want you guys to remember something. Before we noticed that Warren had lost a large amount of weight, I mean, it looks like that can be a totally different person. Maybe his father. If you guys recall, Nolan's real mom, Katie Hudson Seymour, that's his real mom. She talked about going out to the island for 10 minutes, as she say, She also talked about how she feels like Wyatt. I'm sorry. Let me go back. How she feels that Warren was such a good friend to Nolan and that she would never leave him and that he wanted to stay on the island with Katie and that Nolan was asked repeatedly, get on the boat. You know, this is what she said. She talks about Nolan coming to her house so many times and how they love Nolan. But she didn't show up to the funeral either. But one of the things she said, guys, is please stop hurting us. My son is beside himself. I've never seen him like this before. And I ask you to please stop the blame. Well, I didn't know what she meant when she said she never seen him like this before. But this is what she was referring to. Apparently, maybe he wasn't eating or eating other things, little things that they take. Yeah. She said she had never seen him like this before. What is it that Warren really knows about this? Because I'm going to be honest, it doesn't look like this is weight that he's losing because he lost his friend, just based on how he has responded to the family. What I want you guys to understand, we have more information. Right now, we know that Nolan wanted his phone back. And it makes sense why they kept his phone, because allegedly Nolan had recorded a fight of his brother getting his ass beat. And Warren didn't like that. One other thing that our good old TikToker, Pink Panda, who they keep blocking all of her videos, she has discovered something else, guys, and we're about to get into it. They try to say this, well, not that they try to say it, because they did say it. Where will we put a body on a boat? See, us people said, oh, okay, it's just laying on on the floor of the boat. But listen, did you all know they had a storage component in that boat? Let's get into it.
Really going to take a couple days off because my brain needs a rest after the last couple of days. Now we know for sure that there was storage in the bow of the boat. All right, so now at this point, I am pretty sure that the Triton was there all day. They didn't switch out the boats. And I'm also pretty certain at
Did you all know that there was storage on the boat?
this point that this is a real video, because there's one single frame where you can see Bart's.
Now I want to get into this. This video, or whatever this picture, whatever this thing is that they released to tell us that Nolan wasn't on the boat, which obviously we can't believe. We know that they have storage, and we don't know what was up, on the bottom of the boat. What we do know now is that picture or video was edited.
Boat, and you can also see the toes of somebody like dangling them off the water. So if the picture or video were AI, it would be a really bizarre thing for it to just kind of throw in. But there's zero question in my mind that this video has been altered. So then the question becomes, why would they alter this video? And the only thing that logically makes sense to me is to alter the identity of the two girls. Because if Carter is the boy in red, Wyatt is the boy in the American shorts, Bart's brother Brooke being the one in the navy blue shorts, and then Ike being the one in the teal shorts. Then we've got Warren up here with somebody in this red striped swimsuit and the girl in the teal swimsuit with the backwards hat. So in this picture, this would be Brooks, this would be Ike, this would be Wyatt, this would be Warren, which would leave this to be Carter. Now, whoever this is seems to be very cuddly with Carter. Like, too cuddly, in my opinion, for it to be like a mother or a family member. Thinking about it a lot from the timeline that we have been told. And what we haven't really been factoring in again is the party. Because remember, Warren said he went to the party, but instead of talking with all of his friends, he went upstairs to go talk with his girl friend's dad. Now, those families are tight. So if that dad of Ava, if that conversation with the dad didn't happen, then they would automatically know that they were lying. So I've been saying for a while that the girl was somehow involved. And mind you, everybody's back on land now. They're getting ready to do the fireworks and everybody's swimming and drinking, so blah, blah, blah. So what's the excuse for no pictures at that party? They've explained it.
What's the excuse for no pictures on the 4th of July?
All the way during the day, but at this point, they're all just being teenagers and having fun again, right? So I'm thinking that the brunette girl is Ava, the girl whose house they went to. And she's pretty close with Warren and the Pyrone family.
And they're full speed running. And then after that, I didn't see them anymore. I think you were on the boat. You start from there?
Yeah, so after we planed off, Wyatt kept the boat pinned the whole way in. We ran in the mouth of Fort Bayou.
Listen to his speech. And I said this in a previous video. This dude, he can't hold it in anymore. Look how he explains it. It almost feels like I have either sped up the video or slowed it down. This is just his speech.
Where we came from originally, and we turned into Fort Bayou, went in the channel, ran probably 500, 600 yards into Fort Bayou. Wyatt jumped out of the boat, put the plug back in the boat.
Listen to how he talks. This is really wearing heavily on him.
Access water. So water didn't keep pushing and filling back the boat.
According to their own words, they went into the mouth and then they turned and they went about 500-600 feet. Now, mind you, the party house is right around, but they go past it and then loop back around. However, Warren just admitted that at some point they had to stop and Wyatt jumped in. Even then, you heard him stuttering over the story. Like it wasn't a smooth transition because I think they dropped her off. Which would explain why they would go back to this party, because obviously they can't cancel the party. That looks really suspicious. Then my theory has always been that the guys all like broke off and like talked to the parents about what was going on. And that's when they formulated their whole, we'll call her and then we'll call the Coast Guard plan. Remember, she is related. Somehow I can't figure out, but she is related through marriage to the lieutenant that wrote up the very initial report we've seen. Because remember how Morgan claimed that the picture of the boat stuff was circulating around Snapchat and stuff, even though Christine didn't post it to her Facebook page until the next day. Listen to this.
His mom was, what was he wearing? And so we were trying to remember what color his shorts were. We couldn't quite figure that out.
I said black.
Yeah, I think we said black.
I really did. He was wearing navy blue shorts.
Yeah, it was like dark blue shorts.
Dark. I just said black because I was trying to piece everything together and help out.
And so at this point, we're freaking out. We don't know where our friend's at. And the girl that took the picture, she was like, okay, well, I just took this picture of today. This is what color swim trunks he was wearing. And his mom asked for that to post on Facebook to say, if you've seen him, whatever, this is what he was wearing.
So remember, the girl who took the picture with the digital camera was on Wyatt's boat at the beginning of the day and then was there with them at night when they were having this discussion. So she had to have been there at the beginning and at the party at the very least. Then we remembered that the original shorts picture, well, that wasn't the color of his shorts, as we now know. So we also know for a fact that this picture did not get sent to Christine until July 5th, meaning that they had to have had that picture and then not sent it to her for hours. Because they also said this.
And so that's what we sent to her, or that's what she sent to her, because we were just trying.
So they corrected themselves. He said, we sent it. No, she sent it. And on July 5th, Christine said that they have been up for almost 48 hours straight. And then the very next post above.
It's interesting, though, how they criticized her in the previous video for posting the picture that they actually sent to her.
That are the same pictures, but better quality. Why did it take so long to get these pictures to them? Oh, and y'all, now that I said that, I realize, so all of these pictures had to come from the same digital camera, right? Meaning this picture did as well. And since I've already proven that this picture had used AI to do something weird because, you know, there was no little bar here, only explanation for using AI on just this little part would be to obscure the reflection that was in this poll of the person who was taking the video, or the pictures. Oh my God, yes. That makes sense. Love it when I figure that stuff out in real time for you on camera. So it makes sense to me that this photo video thing was altered to cover up this girl's swimsuit. Because let's face it, this swimsuit is the ugliest thing. It has like supposedly like sleeves and it's a tankini, but it goes like in a weird cut, but it's ugly. It's ugly and it's clearly not what these debutante beauty queen girls are wearing to a 4th of July beach party. So I'm like 70% sure that this is Ava. Oh, wait. Oh my God. Wait a second. Shown y'all guys before that there's 4 boats out here in this little cluster, right? But I'm looking at these weird pink lumps and stuff at the front of the boat, Bart's boat here. Is that a pile of life vests? Because I'm realizing there's not 20, 30 people on all of these boats. Like I'm seeing 10, 12 people here tops. Let's not forget what a full house looks like on these boats. Because even in this video at the meetup place, there's not 20, 30 people getting ready to get on these boats. I mean, the boat left at 9:56, according to the GPS. We got like 7, 8 people here, like 6 people here. And also, if they were legitimately needing to be towed and they were trying to get the water to run off, why are they all spread out on the boat? Why are they on the boat in general? Why didn't they just get off on land or get on another boat? Trying to get the boat to tip up and go planing. Why do you have over half the boat on the front of the boat? These are experienced fucking fishermen. They know better than that. Yeah, I can't believe.
Yeah, they're sinking, but you put all of the weight when you could have just got off the damn boat. What sense does that make? You're weighing down a sinking boat.
I've never thought of that before. If the boat was sinking, why are they even on the fucking boat? Yeah, and if it was so common and so easy to get, rides back with other people, strangers on Horn Island, why did they need to load everybody on the boat? Or were they yelling at Nolan to get on the boat? They didn't need to get him on the boat. And now that I'm looking at this, doesn't it look like Warren is on the phone? Could this have been when he was calling his mom 8 times? Also, one more thing that stuck out to me.
Also, guys, one thing that Pink Panda didn't mention, I'm going to kind of back it up. Do you all see that leg? What the hell is that leg hanging over there? Is that real? I mean, please let me know in the comments, because I also have this picture. Doesn't that look like a black leg?
Of the boat. These are experienced fucking fishermen. They know better than that. Yeah, I can't believe I've never thought of that before. If the boat was sinking, why are they even on the fucking boat? Yeah, and if it was so common and so easy to get, rides back with other people, strangers on Horn Island, why did they need to load everybody on the boat? Or were they yelling at Nolan to get on the boat? They didn't need to get him on the boat. And now that I'm looking at this, doesn't it look like Warren is on the phone? Could this have been when he was calling his mom 8 times? Also, one more thing that stuck out to me.
We called law enforcement. I was with Wyatt at the time after we left Jackson's house that night. I was with Wyatt, and one person we were with saw that their location was headed towards Wyatt's house. And so Wyatt got on the phone with 911 and was like, hey, these people are on the way to my house or already at my house. My mom and my dad are there alone, and they know nothing about this.
He stumbled over his words from beginning to end in that story, so I don't believe any of it. But the one thing that sticks out to me was the phrasing, they don't know anything about this. If people are heading over to your house, why wouldn't you call your mom and dad before you called 911?
And we spoke about this in my previous video. You give them the address, and then as they head over, you call 911 and panic and make it seem like these people are going over to your mom and your dad's home and they don't know what's going on. And then you play this white card, boogeyman card, come get these terrible black people card.
Because it sounded like he was trying to keep his parents out of the loop of this story, which as a teenage boy implies that you have something to hide. Just a lot of different things to think about, right? All right, after this, I'm probably going to take a couple days off because my brain needs a...
So you guys let me know what you guys think in the comments. Of course, we got to stick with this story. As it was originally reported, Nolan wanted his phone. All he wanted was his phone. Here's the proof to prove it. The story that Nolan never got on the boat is simply because Nolan got on the damn boat. And what happened to Nolan, well, we heard that on the CETO call.
Yeah.
From Myers Club, Fight Plus News, I'm John Abba.
To Nolan Wells' mother, do not give them people that phone. They tried to be slick with that.
Bart Edmondson's attorney appears to now have sent a diss at Nolan Wells' family amid controversy surrounding the surrendering of Wells' phone for inspection with the DA's office. As you should know at the top of this story, Nolan Wells' mother would express her concerns on the activity and non-activity of Wells' phone on July 4th when he first went missing. According to Christine Wansley, two main things stood out for her. One was the location of the phone, apparently showing two different locations on two separate apps. And when Wells' two Snapchat accounts were reviewed by his family, there were no pictures or messages from that day, causing his mother to assume that those items must have been deleted because Nolan was someone who would generally document his times with friends for his social pages. On Good Morning America at the top of July, Wansley would share the moment when she first looked at Wells' phone for clues surrounding his disappearance and later death. When we finally got his phone, me and my sister went through the phone. We went in his Snapchat. He had two accounts. Absolutely nothing. It wasn't even 24 hours, which is how long videos and pictures stay in Snapchat. Even my sister was like, yeah, that's suspicious. Now, at the center of the case lies the lack of trust Wells' family has shown for local law enforcement, causing them to move cautiously. For many, the lack of trust would start when the sheriff assigned to the case would end up expressing that he did not see any signs of foul play before an autopsy was even completed. As previously reported, Ben Crump, lead attorney for Nolan's family, would share that during a meeting with the Mississippi DA, Angel Myers-Mickelrath, they would agree to investigate Wells' cell phone together, and even with the possibility of the FBI being present. Last week, however, it was revealed that the DA's office would later send an email demanding the phone be surrendered and that they had 48 hours to do so. Now, this demand would later be replied by Nolan's family with a reminder of what was agreed upon and that a 48-hour window as they traveled outside of Mississippi was unreasonable. Now it appears that one of the friends who have been criticized by many online's attorney is jabbing at the Wells family. Over on his Facebook page, Bart Edmondson's family attorney, Russell Latina, would write, "You know who did give the investigators access to information on their phones without warrants or list of conditions and right after the events of July 4th? Nolan's friends." As you should know, due to the now infamous CETO call that would be leaked online, Edmondson, a former teammate of Wells, would be accused by online users as the person behind Wells' passing, after "Damn it, Bart" would be heard in the background.
Shut the fuck up! Damn it, Bart.
On Monday, as a way to assure the DA and supporters that they are fully aligned with having Wells' phone finally examined, Crump would send out a statement that read, "We are eager to comply with the agreement we entered on July 15th, which is a joint forensic examination of Nolan's phone conducted together with their experts, our experts, and possibly the FBI. Our experts are on standby. The family is ready. We have given the district attorney's office 4 days to choose from this week, and we will make ourselves available on 12 hours notice for any of them. The family wants Nolan's phone examined right away with both parties in the room. All parties agreed on July 15th that we share the same goal, which is determining the circumstances surrounding Nolan's death. The family is ready to move forward on that goal this week."
I'm gonna tell you what's going on. Let me tell you something. Old girl in Mississippi, she think that whatever she say, go. They think that they could just say whatever they want to say, do whatever they want to do, because that's how they do in their little old town in Mississippi. But the ones they got, she would be a fool to give that phone up. Do not give them people your phone. Not singly, hell no. I'm not, because you know what they're gonna do? All they're gonna do, they're gonna extract everything off that phone. And once they take everything off that phone, it's over. You can only extract it once. And then they're gonna take that and they're gonna stick it up under that whole grand jury crap. And I guarantee you, the mama, nobody will know what exactly they extracted from that phone. Okay, and they're going to utilize the phone too to go through it and see what else they can dig up about Nolan Wells to discredit him. They'll probably try to see if they can find videos of him drinking or smoking or whatever. They're going to do some. I'm telling you, listen, the best thing for her to do is not give them the phone. And just because that lady said, oh, you got 48 hours, okay, boo, and you got 48 hours to wipe your butt with this paper. Because what I'm not finna do is give you my son's phone. And everybody keeps saying, well, what is she hiding? It ain't got nothing to do with the fact of what I'm hiding. That ain't got nothing to do with the price of tea in China. That's my son's phone. That's my child's phone. So it ain't like she be on the phone doing stuff or anything crazy like that. So y'all act like she got something to do with it. No. And here's another thing. Y'all are mad. Y'all are mad because that GoFundMe money is being utilized. It's being utilized, and it is getting her the best counsel because she has 3 different firms working. She even has a private investigator. So yeah, they are mad, and they are waking up every single morning counting her GoFundMe money.
To Nolan Wells' mother, do not give them people that phone. They tried to be slick with that, and that's how I know it's something in their phone. Y'all knew them people wasn't in town, and y'all tried that. Y'all tried to be slick. It's a lot of slimy, conniving bullshit with this case. And I just don't understand why it ain't so simple. When it's the law and justice, as they foretell us, we should go seek justice and law and don't put the law in your own hands. But see, when you start playing with people's emotions and feelings, and then people start wanting to act out, then y'all gonna say people are crazy. Nobody's crazy. You playing with people's times and you playing with people's time and their intelligence. We're not stupid. We're not stupid, Mississippi. We see what you're doing. I mean, hello? 48 hours?
48 hours, everyone has been speaking about Nolan's phone. And why has it not been handed over to the police, to law enforcement? Are you kidding me? How is that even a question? How is that even a question? Are people not aware how America runs, how the system is towards Black people? Are you like?
As far as the DA's response, a statement has yet to be released to add further comment or confirm if a date has been selected. Bart Edmondson, Warren Hudson, Jax Patalo, Morgan Seymour, and others continue to state their innocence in regarding the disappearance and death of Nolan Wells. Let's talk about it more in the comments below. How do you feel about Edmondson?
A little bit of commentary from Judge Carlos Moore, a former Mississippi judge who is going to weigh in on what he thinks and why he thinks there should already have been arrest in the Deal Brothers Nolan Wells case. Just check this out.
From a professional perspective, is that audio enough to where arrest could have been made, even off a suspicion of what we were thinking we were hearing? Is that enough?
Coupled with other things, I think it's enough for an arrest warrant to be made at this time. I would feel comfortable knowing all the things that I know. If the law enforcement presented me a certain name or names of people that they wanted to be arrested for certain crimes, and they laid it all out as I've understood it from the publicly disclosed information, I would not have a problem at this point signing arrest warrant or arrest warrant.
And then what happens if we got it wrong? It's just, is there like any repercussions from that person? I mean, what's the risk of just locking somebody up off the conditions that you just mentioned?
It happens all the time. I mean, there's no real risk, no repercussions for the judge or the prosecutor. The law enforcement, they do their job and they do the best they can. The judge would have found probable cause to sign the arrest warrant. Judges have judicial immunity, so you can't be sued or successfully for signing an arrest warrant. So there's no risk to the judge. Most prosecutors have prosecutorial immunity. So, I mean, they do it all the time. Law enforcement has qualified immunity. And so what we do know is had the roles been reversed, the black guys that came back to land would have probably been arrested within 24 hours.
Of course. You know, one thing that you kind of led with that I think a lot of people heard or felt and appreciated was you calling out how things were not moving according to how they normally would with a potential cover-up from a local law enforcement level. Don't know if you can say that, but ideally, do you think a cover-up was taking place at some point along the way?
I believe there are a lot of suspicious things that have occurred in this case from the very beginning. Since Nolan went missing, Ashley Cole, by her own admission, deactivated her Facebook account or her social media accounts. She says it was because of she wanted to protect her young children, but who was threatening? We didn't
even know you, I think, at that point.
Yeah. So on July the 4th, no one had in mind about threatening her children. So why would you assume that they would have been threatened just because someone allegedly drowned on Horn Island? That's not a safe assumption. It had to be something more to it. And for those boys to lawyer up, they have a right to lawyer up. But as I told someone, if my family member came to me about something that happened on Horn Island and recounted it to me, as a lawyer, a trained lawyer, I'm going to listen to the facts. I'm not going to advise them to lawyer up if I don't think they've committed a crime. You only advise someone to lawyer up if they've potentially committed a crime. If you just was a witness to somebody drowning, you can be a witness and testify and recount that freely with no risk of going to prison. So that tells me that something may have gone awry there that could have had some criminal culpability for one or more persons for them, if it's true that those boys lawyered up on July the 4th, July the 5th. And then for the boys to eat together, be seen together on July the 5th, eating breakfast at a restaurant instead of being out there with people searching for their friend or best friend, that's not normal circumstances. I mean, if any of my boys were missing and I was one of the last ones to be seen with them, I'm going to be out there with the family trying to show them where we were hanging out or where we were and trying to help find them. I'm not going to be having breakfast at IHOP or Waffle House or anywhere else for that matter.
I wonder how much is that of them being guilty of something or just showing their true colors of maybe how they felt about him. You know?
I don't understand. I mean, instead of going to the funeral, I believe Warren was talking to Officer Tatum on the day of the funeral, being interviewed, and he allegedly was still calling him his best friend. So I don't see how you could not be concerned about your best friend and not out there trying to find them. And I also don't understand why the father said he couldn't find a boat the night of. He says that he didn't have friends with boats, but if your son had friends with boats, they should have gone back out that same night at midnight and started searching for the guy. They didn't offer the boats that night. I'm understanding that they were
that kind of broke me. Yeah. They kind of hurt a little bit to be like, I would have went out, but I ain't got no friends with boats.
Correct. And so, but your son had friends with boats because he was out there. That's how he got out there on a boat.
So dad already was not rocking with him based off how he had to get the keys and all that. He said that in multiple interviews. Once you kind of show me that, you can't be trusted, you seem like you're lying, then why do you think no one has been at least apprehended under suspicion at least? Everyone's getting interviews, but no one's really.
Yeah, I just think it's because in Mississippi, a lot of the times race plays a factor, and then a lot of times your socioeconomic status based on who you are, your parents are. And we have some very prominent people, at least the parents wise. I believe there may be a dentist and an emergency room doctor, a pain doctor, a judge. And so parents of some of these boys that were last seen with Nolan, his alleged friends, are pretty powerful or influential or relatively wealthy individuals in that county.
Now, one of the theories that I have in terms of Nolan's passing, I assume that he might have been pushed off of a boat. That feels like that can be able to fill in the gap that no one's seen what happened because he was like out on the water. He wasn't on the shore where everybody was at, and he was pushed off the boat. How is that possible to prove in that case that someone was pushed off a boat? Is it possible?
You would need witness testimony. Someone would have to testify that they saw someone push them off. And that's why I've always had this question. If he drowned who saw him get into the water? How did he get into the water? Even the pathologist that did the second autopsy says the way he got into the water is going to be very important. Did he voluntarily get in there? Was he forced against his will? Was he pushed accidentally? Was he pushed on purpose? All of that will come into play on the cause and manner of death. And so, but someone knows something, and it's going to take someone to tell. Unless there's some video or audio, it's going to take someone's honest recitation of what happened.
Want to watch the full interview?
Shout out to that intelligent brother bringing forth a lot of facts that puts this whole situation into question. Once again, Black people get arrested all the time, and then they have to prove their innocence. So if there's a death, if there's question in this death, okay, so round them up. And then, knock them down one by one. The reason they don't do it because they know when there's not enough evidence to convict Black people, they'll arrest 4 people, somebody gonna start talking. And so, and rather than arrest them, they'll just go talk to them, off the record and, get their statements. And that's the way they can cover their bases. Well, no, we talked to the boys. That's what they keep saying. Well, the boys have cooperated. Have they been arrested? Because being arrested and being talked to for a crime is 2 totally different things. I've been both, So when you arrested, things get serious now. So, okay, all the stories have to continue to make sense. And if there is a cover up, then, somebody will be liable to talk. And once again, the role reversal theory, if that was 3 Black guys or 30 Black guys that go out on a trip and the white guy doesn't come back, everybody's a suspect. No matter what they say. If we left at 4:30 and somebody saw him at 6, I don't care. Everybody get in the paddy wagon. We got some questions to ask y'all. And if you don't answer right, everybody's getting locked up. So that's the dichotomy of it. Also, he mentioned, once again, the judge deactivated her Facebook the same day that he went missing. And this was before anybody knew anything about the situation. And so she claims, well, I deactivated my Facebook to protect our children. Why would you have to protect your children if nobody suspected you of anything? So there has to be some foreknowledge of, okay, I've talked to Warren, I've talked to these guys. Oh man, we got to hide. No, if there's just a witness or whatever, if his friend went missing, okay, well look, let's make a post. Hey, look, my friend, my son, anybody seen Nolan? Anybody seen? If that was the case, so that tells you it is not the case. Also, if the boys are out eating at 5 at the next morning while they've already called the Coast Guard and said, okay, our friend is missing, they're not on no boats, they're not looking for him, because one thing that one psychologist says the absence of curiosity means there's certainty. So they didn't have to look for Nolan, allegedly, because they already knew what happened to Nolan. And so if your friend goes out, and he doesn't come back, you're going to be ramping up. You're going to be, texting. You're going to be out there on the front lines. And so, once again, the absence of curiosity means there's certainty. Meaning, allegedly people know what happened to him. And, once again, there's no one to answer the question. How did he get in the water? How did he drown on that island full of people? The lawyers keep harping on the fact that, well, the boys were going at 4:30. And then we have 2 people who saw Nolan at 6. So those are the only 2 people who saw him. Like, nobody saw him at 5:43. Nobody saw him at 5:15. Nobody saw him at 4:46. You understand what I mean? So that leads me to believe, once again, they're just plucking out witnesses and stories. A lot of people believe that Nolan was on that boat when it left. And, we pulled up evidence to suggest that. And you're going to see that soon. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this interview in the comments. Definitely a lot of people feel like there should have already been
Willie D Live.
What's up, family? Well, what do we have here? Family. Oh, you ain't gonna believe it. Well, maybe you will. Nolan Wells had just been reported missing. And before anybody knew how this story would end, guess what the police did? You ain't gonna never guess, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. The police made a move that demands an explanation. They went to the judge's house, but not just any judge. The judge of one of the boys or men who some suspect or many suspect of being involved in Nolan's death. Yeah, Warren Hudson. Yeah, man. Yeah. The police went to his house to go talk to his mama first. Not after Nolan was found, not days into the investigation, right at the beginning. So the question tonight is simple. What did the police know? Let's get into it, fam. Check out this dispatch call. This is the police on the line. Check it out.
Negative. We're en route to the judge's house now. You said y'all are en route to the judge's house or from the judge's house? En route to the judge's house. That's 10-4. I keyed up on you. Appreciate it. 10-4.
32, finish up with whatever you got and get down here.
Currently dealing with a potential missing person.
Do you have all the information from this 1050?
10-4.
1024, 10-8. Give me a J2.
10-4.
This is why people don't trust Ocean Spring police. And this is why they don't trust Mississippi police. And this is why they don't trust police in general. Because that message right there should have been enough to open an investigation on the officers involved. But we already know nobody opened an investigation because, you know, in Mississippi, that seemed to be protocol. And around the United States, you know, the hookup, the connections, who you know, it ain't what they say, it ain't what you know, it's who you know. It seems to go under the radar. You get a pass if you know somebody. But I'm here to tell you, fam, when a young man disappears, what is the first thing? What is the very first thing that you expect the police to do? Ding, 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 ding. Find out where he was last seen. Find out who he was with, who saw him last. Start calling people. Start tracking witnesses. Figure out whether his phone is still active. Find the vehicle or the boat that he was traveling in. But according to dispatch information that we're discussing today, when Nolan Wells was reported missing, police went to the judge's house. And here's what makes that very important. This wasn't 3 days into the investigation, family. This wasn't 3 days later. This wasn't after Nolan was found. This was reportedly one of the very first moves police made after Nolan was reported missing. How much sense does that make? Come on, fam. Come on, is this favoritism at play here? Why was that location relevant enough that early in the search for law enforcement to go there? See, that's what I want to talk about today. See, this changes the question. For weeks, people have been asking, what happened to Nolan Wells? But this dispatch information creates another question. What did the police know when Nolan was first reported missing? Because police don't normally just pick addresses out of their hat. Somebody gave them information. Somebody told them something. A name came up. An address came up. A connection came up. or investigators had some other reason to believe that the location was relevant to finding Nolan. So I don't want to just jump straight to conclusions. I don't want y'all jumping straight from the police went to the judge's house to the judge did something wrong. Those are two completely different statements. What I want to know is everything that happened between those 2 points? That's what I want to know. Nolan is reported missing. Dispatch receives information, and law enforcement ends up at the residence. What information caused that to happen? That's the story. Why would the police go there? There could be a perfectly innocent explanation. No, I'm just playing. Ain't no damn perfectly innocent explanation. We know what it is. We know what it is. This is the hookup. This is the connection. This is why they went and arrested people for threatening the judge, but did not arrest anybody for threatening Christine and Elmore Wansley. This is the family in distress. This is the family grieving. Their grief should take priority over anybody's. They're the ones who lost a son. Maybe investigators were looking for someone who could tell them where Nolan had gone. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe somebody at that residence had some information. Maybe police were given an address connected to one of the people Nolan had been with. So many possibilities. But that's exactly why the public shouldn't have to speculate. The records should tell us, what did the dispatch tell the officer? Who provided the address? What name was attached to it? What was the officer told before arriving? Who answered the door? Who did the police speak with? What did that person tell them? How long were the officers there? And what did the officers do immediately afterwards? Those are not conspiracy theories, family. Those are not conspiracy questions. Those are timeline questions. The first hours matter. Y'all seen the first 48? They say first 48 hours matter. All hands on deck, no stone unturned. Everybody is a suspect. You got to beat the bushes and find out what happened. And this is why I am so interested in what happened at the beginning. In any missing person investigation, those first hours can be critical. We're talking about before lawyers, before press conferences, before national attention, before everybody starts watching what they're saying. You know what I'm saying, fam? We're talking about at the beginning, before those early statements can be compared with everything that comes afterwards. Did somebody say Nolan was here? Did somebody say Nolan was there? Did somebody say they hadn't seen him? Did somebody give police a timeline? Did somebody direct somewhere else? Did they direct the police somewhere else? Those initial statements matter because memories change. Stories change. New information comes in. Sometimes people simply remember things differently. That's what we keep saying. That's what we keep hearing, right? They keep saying people remember things differently. So it's important to get to the bottom of it really quickly. Smash the gas, find out what happened immediately. So All of this stuff changes. People's memories change, they forget things, people's stories change. But that original record remains the original record. That's why I want that dispatch audio. I want the incident report. I want the body camera footage. That's if it exists, because they turn it off normally when they want to commit a crime. They turn it off. I want that body cam footage. And I want to know, that's if it can legally be released. Should be, right? They were investigating a crime or a missing person. Seemed like that body cam should be on. I'm sure they turned that body cam off. But I really would like to know, what the hell did they say? They went to the judge's house. You got to the judge's house, what did you say? What did the judge say? Oh, hey, Bill, you left your watch here from last night. What did the judge say? What did the judge husband say? And what does the judge husband know? That's important. I want to know, fam. I want to know. I want to know what the officers knew before they knocked on that door. Don't give me the ending. Give me the beginning. Every great story starts at the beginning. Give me the beginning. And we've heard a lot about what happened after Nolan was found. But what I want to rewind is the movie. I want to rewind the movie. Take me all the way back. Yeah, fam. You seen come in the middle of a movie and you asking questions. You got to ask a whole bunch of questions trying to catch up. No, I'm at home. I got the control. I can start the movie at the very beginning. If you got your options, if you start watching a good movie and you realize, oh, this is a good movie, man, well, put it at the beginning, man, so I can know what's going on. Run that thing back. Rewind it all the way to the beginning. That's what I want to see, the beginning. Take me all the way back. Nolan hasn't been found yet. His family is looking for him. Law enforcement is now involved. What happened next? Minute by minute. Not somebody's recollection weeks later. Not social media, not rumors. Give me the timestamps. Give me the dispatch. Give me the calls. Give me the addresses. Give me the police reports. Because if the police went to this particular residence early in the search, that means the resident became relevant somehow. And I want to know. I want to know. What say you?
So this could just be a drowning. I'm sitting down, and this could just be a drowning, and that's why they're looking at it that way, because nothing's told them it's
yet.
But everything's not a crime. It doesn't have to be investigated as a crime.
You're still talking. We've already established that. Here's the other. You know what? I'm going to let you think about what you just said.
It appears their friend may have stayed afterwards, and maybe a tragedy happened. Maybe something else happened that wasn't involving them.
A tragedy did happen.
6
Nolan
weeks.
Wells is dead, and I'm going to find out how. But I tell you what,
but you're talking about 6 weeks.
About why no
this is
polygraphs
isolated.
have been taken. I'm just
Why?
very curious.
But why?
But
Why?
Defense
For
lawyers
what?
wouldn't dream of letting their
They're
clients
not
report.
suspects.
Let me get to the
But
phone.
Nancy, you're turning what's not a
Of course they're
criminal
not suspects. You
investigation
said that
and
10
want the
times. You're
trappings
wasting
of
my time.
one.
Stop it.
But when you talk about polygraph,
Please listen to me. Please talk. Here. Okay. Yeah. Just keep them just like that. Yeah. That's the way I like Morse. Don't hurt your head, Morse. Don't hurt your head.
Although everybody may not agree with Nancy Grace, I would like to add that I respect anybody that's showing up every day and putting in the work. Not only that, I see that she demands answers, along with putting somebody in their place when need be. But in the latest information we have is that Nolan Wells' family, along with the DA and the other side, is about to link up to examine Nolan Wells' phone. And one thing I can agree with Nancy Grace and what she said about Christine Wansley is that their family is afraid. Imagine being in a state where nobody can protect you. You lose your child, and the people that are supposed to be helping you are helping the people that might be responsible for it or maybe withholding some information. And everyone start playing the victim and ignore your situation. So I understand they are terrified, y'all, to give up that phone. But before we get into that, y'all make sure y'all hype this video. Make sure you're liking to get this out there in the algorithm, and make sure you subscribe. Check this out, y'all.
The Jackson County DA's office, as well as our forensic team, and possibly the FBI, we're going to together download and examine the phone. So it's done one time with everybody together, right? This is very common in the law. This is what is supposed to happen. We are waiting for the DA to determine the time, the place, the date. Let us know, and we are going to be there with our forensics team and anybody else, but it's done one time, one examination. We're ready for it to happen.
They're not hiding the phone. They just don't trust for the DA to have the phone alone without an independent investigation into the phone, someone who's not biased.
The family is afraid. Many people have seen injustice in other cases that have nothing to do with them. And I believe they fear evidence will be destroyed or mishandled, and it can never be recaptured. It's very possible it could never be recaptured.
Did ChatGPT just help me figure this case out? Let me show you something. Do not scroll away. I had ChatGPT design this diagram below. And what the diagram shows you is the void between these four people right here. You see all five people. There's a void. Everybody's avoiding something on the floor right there. Why are they not? That's the largest space on the entire boat. Why is nobody standing in the biggest area of the boat? Why is everybody off to the side? If you look at the diagram, the red part shows Nolan's body. And if you look at the dude in the back, in the orange, I asked Google to tell me where that bilge pump is. And that's what he's doing in the back. He's over there messing with that bilge pump. And Wyatt right here is on the phone. Now listen to what I learned. Now, when Wyatt was on that phone call with the CETO company on the stress call, he says that the lady asked him, what is your GPS coordinates? Wyatt says, let me go look. So he had to have been over here with all the commotion going on while he's over here messing with that bilge pump. Wyatt was over here, and he left from over here to go over here to check the coordinates. As you can see, he's on the phone right there where the coordinates is. And if you look at the diagram, you can literally see where Nolan's body could possibly be in this picture where you can't see it. Because I had them tell me what all of this means, what the space is called, and everything. So that space definitely can hold Nolan's body. And as you can see here, what the fuck are they avoiding? Why are they not standing right there? They're avoiding something. There's a whole void in between all these people. And that diagram shows you what's really going on in this picture.
Again, y'all, for those that do not know how to use their sense of discernment, we're just asking questions until we get some answers as to what happened to our brother, Nolan Wells.
Hey, y'all. Hey, I was tagged in a video from a reliable source that the 19th Circuit District DA office is no longer looking at the Nolan Wells case as an accidental drowning. However, they are now have moved on to looking at it into a criminal investigation. And I think that that is great news. I don't want to get too excited yet because I did go searching in the news outlets and things of that nature, Ben Crump and other people who have been keeping up with this case, and they have yet to mention that yet. So I don't want to get too excited, but the source is very reliable. And he is saying that his inside source has told him that this is what the DA office is now moving into, looking at it as a criminal investigation. I always say I want to be excited, y'all. I really do want to be excited. I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. So I'm praying and I'm hopeful that, later this evening, hopefully something will pop up on the media, the news outlets to confirm.
And I'm going to add, whatever they give us, y'all, do not get overexcited because they are watching these videos and they use the videos as a gauge to see whatever they give us. Are they going to be excited if we just take somebody into custody? Will they forget about it if we just bring somebody into custody for questioning? No, that isn't a sentence. So no, we are not going to get that excited.
But Sam here for a Nolan Xavier Wells update. And excuse me, everybody is now pointing out that Charles and TMZ are now backpedaling on everything they said because Charles was recently being interviewed, and I think it was by Don Lemon. And he's like, yeah, it's odd that they're going off on Officer Ray Tatum's podcast. It's odd that they did this. It's odd that they did that. But TMZ, you have been the ones supporting these young men's PR crusade this entire time. So why now are you finally flip-flopping? Is it because all of the backlash you've been getting for reporting on this so incorrectly and favoring one side over the other? Because every time Harvey was on there, he said, oh yeah, we've corroborated the footage with them on the CTO call. And then when Trent Out Loud, shout out
to
so
Trent
my
Out
man
Loud.
says Trent Out Loud. Trent Out Loud said, where is the metadata? Where is the META? Where is the META, son? We need to see it all day, son. Where is it? Where's the metadata? And Harvey's like, oh yeah, we just believe them. So I'm glad TMZ is backpedaling, but you guys should have been on this from day one, because one thing about TMZ, we all respected you on that celebrity tip for always like, why are you guys even using Officer Ray Tatum's video with his bug on it, his logo? I've never seen TMZ rock anybody else's video. They always have the TMZ bug on their videos. So do better, TMZ. Secrets.
Let's see the video that he's talking about. And I'm not going to say the whole TMZ is backpedaling. The guy Charles had came on Don Lemon's show, and check this out, y'all.
The friends are on a PR, PR blitz to change public opinion because they believe that they in the court of public opinion, they're not doing so well, that they have been, sort of demeaned in some way, disparaged in some way.
I think it's weird. I think it's weird.
Yeah.
When Warren sat down with the guy, I know we don't like to say his name, sat down with him, I was like, okay, this one kid and his mom is a judge, and maybe he wants to sort of clear his name. But now every week, another friend sits down, and another friend sits down, and and now they've got this lawyer, and they're sitting down and doing interviews. It's weird to me. And it's not just weird. Yeah, there are people who are going to say things on the internet. Why does that rise to the level of you need an attorney to now sit down and do interviews to publicize yourself, to try and change the court of public opinion? Why do you care about a court of public opinion? Because you didn't do anything. And ultimately, if you didn't do anything, and maybe they didn't, let's take them at their word and their attorney that they didn't have anything to do with Nolan's death. That's all going to come out when the results of the autopsy come out, when the investigation comes out. So why are you now getting? It's almost like I get like this attorney has probably convinced them, yes, do this and talk about this and it'll change public opinion. But what it really does, it makes some people will look at it and go like, well, what are you getting out in front of? If you didn't do anything, there's nothing to get out in front of. So in some ways it can backfire on you. It's just weird to me. And then you also have run the risk of what did happen is that one of these kids sits down and blasts Nolan's mom and says that she was wrong to put out that photo. And that's not going to play well in the public for you, man, that you're attacking the mother of your best friend, who you're so distraught about losing him, yet you're doing an interview where you're attacking his mom.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. Like, the old saying is, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, but also in the court of public opinion. And so I don't get why they're doing all these interviews. It's like, I get that if you're distraught about the loss of your friend, and let's say they are, talk about that and leave it at that. If you feel like you must say something. But too much of it has seemed like they're just defending themselves. And if they've done nothing, why are you so vociferously defending yourself?
Now, that is what common sense sounds like. So why didn't he have that same common sense in the background? And this is when it looks like the compromised is uncompromised. Maybe them cash apps stop hitting. I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Old Charlie boy here is starting to sound like he got common sense. Is he about to lose his job at TMZ? Because I don't think TMZ agree with that. Or somebody probably stopped getting paid. I don't know. Allegedly.
Got you, Greg Morris. Let me throw another question at you. And look, I'm not wearing a prosecution or a defense hat. As you know, I'm a crime victim. I would say I'm coming at it from that angle. But I was very disturbed, Greg, when I got wind that there is no criminal investigation. It's been said over and over and over. Why not? We don't know how he died. For instance, if he did have water in his lungs, okay, maybe he did drown. But how did he get in the water? Did he fall in the water? Was somebody, wrestling with him in the water and they held him down? They went, oh, my stars, I killed him and left. Did he hit his head? Well, I mean, there's a lot more to it than saying, oh, yeah, he drowned. How can someone state there is no criminal investigation? I understand a grand jury is about to be convened. That doesn't mean there's a crime, but doesn't that suggest to you a grand jury inside the Superior Courthouse, inside the district attorney's office would suggest there is a criminal investigation?
Well, it would potentially lead someone to believe that, a criminal investigation was undergoing. However, when we look at how this has played out over the last 6 weeks, how law enforcement has acted, they haven't seized Nolan Wells's phone at this point. In a criminal investigation, law enforcement's going to use those tools to get this information. So this could just be a drowning. I'm sitting down, and this could just be a drowning. And that's why they're looking at it that way, because nothing's told them it's yet. But everything's not a crime. It doesn't have to be investigated as a crime.
You're still talking. We've already established that. Here's the other, you know what? I'm going to let you think about what you just said. I'm going to go to Jeff Shetler joining us.
Check his ass. That's what I meant in the beginning. She would not be afraid to check somebody's ass when need be.
These acquaintances that went out on the beach, I'm not razor lock on them. I'm looking at them. I'm looking at everybody. Who are these two witnesses? If they are telling the truth, that Nolan Wells was on Horn Island at either 5 or 6 o'clock, then the acquaintances on the Triton are in the clear, because Morse, I know based on their GPS what time they left the island. So we have to keep our minds open as to what, who, what, where, why, the whole shebang. We can't lock in on those acquaintances if they had already left and he's still on the island. Is that true? I don't know, but it could be, right? Many an investigation has failed because the prosecutor did not keep their mind open as to potential suspects, right?
Well, that's 100% right. The police have to keep an open mind here. It's not even a criminal investigation. So 6 weeks approximately has gone by. The folks that were on the boat with Nolan, nothing has come out even remotely to indicate they were involved in some foul play at this point at all. They're just people that went out to this island with their friend. it appears their friend may have stayed afterwards, and maybe a tragedy happened, maybe something else happened that wasn't involving
Ken,
them.
a tragedy
But
did happen.
6
Nolan
weeks,
Wells is dead, and I'm going to find out how. But I tell you
sure.
what,
But you're talking
I
about
am
6
curious
weeks.
about
This is
why no
this is
polygraphs have been
isolated.
taken. I'm just
Why?
very curious.
But
But
why?
many
Why?
defense
For
lawyers
what?
wouldn't dream of letting their
They're
client
not
take calls. Let
suspects.
me get to the
But
phone.
Nancy, you're turning
Oh, dear Lord.
what's
Of
not a
course they're
criminal
not suspects. You said
investigation
that
and
10
want the
times. You're
trappings
wasting
of
my
one.
time. Stop it.
But when you talk about
I see his
polygraph,
lips moving. I hear. Okay. Yeah. Just keep him just like that. Yeah. That's the way I like Morse. Don't hurt your head, Morse. Don't hurt your head.
Back it up. Get up out of here. If you with the other side, if you got any inkling of saying anything that you're down with the other side, cut his mic. Get him out of here. And did y'all see that pen that she had? Yeah, y'all remember them pens? You know she about to cook with one of them damn pens.
And it says camera and use. Okay, so I am at the Ocean Springs Front Beach Pier. Okay, this is where people dock their boats. This is where you bring your boat. Okay, so this is where the boat launch is. Check this out. When I tell you that this is allegedly one of their stops, and also the judge's parents' house is right here around the corner. All right, I'm gonna pan over here. Look at this beautiful, beautiful weather. Look at that. What's that? See that see that cop sitting right there?
So y'all want to use all these damn flot cams and all of that to get people license plate and get people speeding and all of that. What about using the flot cam for these wicked ass people? It's too many cameras. There's no way. Don't nobody know something, bro. Breaking news, y'all. As I was scrolling, Nerdy Pink Panda's account has been banned, y'all. Go follow this new account.
Well, if you guys are seeing this, my main account just happened.
So the new account is pretty much the same as Nerdy Pink Panda 00. J Megan. Y'all go ahead and support Free J Megan, man.
Nolan Wells would have been 19 years old. And now the family is being accused of wrongdoing because they haven't turned over the cell phone.
The family is now seemingly being accused of wrongdoing because they haven't handed the phone over.
July 15th, the attorney for the parents of Nolan met and said, yes, we want to give over the phone, but we want someone in the middle here, someone from the outside, an expert to analyze the phone. It appeared everyone agreed. Then all of a sudden they get a letter saying, we want the phone and you have 24 hours to send it over. The DA sent that. And the parents were out of town and said, wait, we don't have the time to do that. Hence the narrative that they're not cooperating. Now they say, Nolan's parents, look, we have our experts on standby this week. Pick it.
Now, I don't see anything wrong with them wanting to hand over the phone when everybody can get the same results from it at the same time. Because, I mean, look what happened to his autopsy. And again, this is a family that's only trying to seek justice. It's not like they out there trying to get some money in return. The autopsy was inconclusive because the state didn't send all his remains. What you think might happen if they give up their phone and they're not there? I'm really hoping that we get some answers to this story real soon.
That's the end of the video, y'all. That's what I'm talking about when I mean I respect what Nancy Grace is doing. But y'all make sure y'all stay tuned because they said the NAACP done stepped up in this motherfucker. So y'all make sure y'all tap in tomorrow because we got a lot to tackle. Y'all get in the comment section. Y'all let me know. Do y'all think it's some underhanded business that's going to go on with Nolan Wells' phone when they meet up? I don't know. I hope not. I'm going to be mad as hell. But I do think we're about to get some justice because if we got TMZ flipping and you got people saying that they're not investigating accidental drowning no more, they're investigating a crime. That lets me know that something about to start happening. But I ain't going to get too happy. I ain't going to get too happy until somebody's ass is locked up. Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Big Kish signing.
2:30 p.m. I saw a young black man hanging from a tree in downtown Raleigh. I immediately called 911. The images burned into my mind. The absolute disregard from Raleigh Police Department will anger me until I die. The wailing from a young couple who were clearly having a joyful day up to that point is devastating. And this is a post from our brother who is not ashamed, Cal Tears. The post has 1,000 likes and 1,300 shares. Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings, all praises to the Most High. And if you've been paying attention to this channel, you know that on August the 15th, during the Caribbean Fest in Raleigh, North Carolina, the capital, a young black man was found hanging from a tree and right across the street from the Wake County Jail, the courthouse, the court building. And of course, you know, they always rule these things that someone did it to themselves. But as you see, and you're about to hear, because I interviewed him from the man that first saw the body, or was one of the first people who saw the body, that Raleigh Police Department did little to no investigation on that scene, which once again leads me to believe, this is my opinion, that Raleigh Police Department or the fire department, who was having a convention right in the hotel that that young man was found, may be involved or complicit. Now, we was out there all day Sunday, scavenging, looking at the scene, talking to people, and we ran across that young brother. Now, I was doing a live video, and I had an opportunity to speak to him. And you're going to hear that right now. It's about a 4-minute conversation, but I just want you to listen to what he says that the Raleigh police did not do in this case. Just listen.
I wonder who put these out here. Yeah. Okay. Shout out to Dr. Kim, man. Yeah, who's he? You need to get him. Oh, for real? My man, hey. How you doing? You work there? So what time was it when you came out and found them?
I have the thing on my phone. It's 2:36 on the dot.
2:36. Did you stay here when the police came?
Yeah, I was here when the police came. So
let me ask you, because there's a photo circulating. Have you seen that photo?
I think so, but I also have a photo, but I haven't shared that.
Who took photos? You know, who else took photos? Because
there was a couple that were walking up those like little steps there. I think they were coming from the agreement, but they were just having like a good time. And then I saw it, and she snapped a couple photos.
You saw it at the same time. So won't nobody out here when you came out?
No, my sous chef came in and like grabbed me. He was just like, "Run out here," and I didn't know what was going on. And he just goes, "Is that real?" And I was like, "Holy shit!"
Oh, so the sous chef. The sous chef saw him first.
Yeah, and so he was like, "Is that fucking real?" And so I was like, "Yeah." And I'd already had my phone out, called 911, and called dispatch. And I was like, "Need emergency at 201 West Martin Street." In the
so when was the last time you had been outside before you saw him?
I got to work at 1:30.
1:30. So between 1:30 and 2:30, you came back out. Well, why you come back out for?
That's because Lowe's, my sous chef, he's one that first saw it and ran back and
okay.
Smoking or doing something with garbage.
Okay.
So yeah, when I got here at 1:30, not there. Then by 2:30, like I said, at 2:36 on the dot, and then the weird fucking report that RPD is saying it's 3:07. I'm like, it wasn't 3:07.
Oh, that's what they said. They got to call it 3:07.
Yeah, it's bullshit because I have it right here on my phone.
So they talked to you.
Yeah.
And what they
no,
say?
Just the dispatch. Just once the cops got here, they didn't even fucking care. They didn't talk to me at all. They didn't ask me my name. They didn't ask me for a number. They didn't ask me any circumstances. They didn't give a fuck.
So they just asked you, did you find them? Or
nope.
They didn't ask that.
They didn't ask me a goddamn question. And I said, "Hey, I'm the sous chef, or I'm the chef at Whiskey Kitchen. Do you have any questions?" And the guy just goes, "Okay." And just like,
for real? How many was it? How many came? Do you think?
Like 3 or 4 cars and probably maybe 5 officers at the time, like an initial. And then EMS came with, again, it was like one of their fucking golf carts. It was insane.
Yeah. A golf cart? Yeah. Okay. Oh, so even and so did you watch him cut them down and all that stuff?
Watch him bring them down. The EMS got here, checked his. Yes, they did. They crossed it off here. All these cars couldn't leave down there. This whole area was roped off.
And where were you standing when it was
right there.
So when they came, did they attempt? Because they said they attempt life-saving measures. Did you see them do anything?
Once they like a gloved hand to his neck.
All right, okay, yeah, man.
All right, so my phone got kind of hot during the middle, of me talking to him, but you heard enough to hear him say they didn't effing care. They didn't even ask me any questions. So how are you investigating if you don't even question the witness who found him? Like, not saying he did, but he could have did it. Like he could have been a hand in it. You didn't test him for. It is from what I hear that they did nothing but call him, cut him down, and rule it a self-unalignment. And that is once again a reason why I feel that law enforcement may be involved. Nothing like that can happen. Once again, across the street from the jail were jail windows. Like when we was out there, people were flashing cars in the windows like, hey, look. Basically, I'm taking that to mean, hey, we saw something. We saw what happened. And so there is no way that nothing like that could occur without that area being securely blocked off for that to happen. Because as he mentioned, people were walking, like as I was out there, people were walking back and forth, constantly throughout, it's a big homeless population, homeless people walking through, other people parking, getting out. So there has to be some coordinated measure of security for that to happen and nobody not see. Because once again, that is the tree. And my brother, who surmised, who takes photographs for scenes like this all the time. He said, look at that broken post. Look at that bent post that's there. He said he wouldn't be surprised if somebody rolled up with a pickup truck with him on the back and did that, because how else would that get knocked down? How else would that be that way? Like there's no evidence of any way that young man could have climbed up there. There's no way he could have tied it up there around so many times because, of the length of the tree. And as I showed in my previous video, there are many cameras around. And so the Raleigh News, WRAL, the News and Observer, have finally came out after this social media expose of the situation and said, well, no, Raleigh Police Department are investigating it as self-unalignment. However, people were told that the investigation was closed 7 hours. But as you heard, if you heard the video I did when I was talking to the police officer, they was like, well, no, we're still investigating. We're still investigating. This next video is going to show you how much they are investigating. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Once again, another black man found in this position, and they're saying that he did it to the self. Once again, on the same day that they had the funeral for a man who died, who escaped a lynching by 2 Wake County Raleigh deputies in the 50s or 60s. They just had his funeral the same day that this man was found like that. That is not a coincidence. Nobody can convince me. So, because once again, nobody can convince me that black men are offing themselves in that manner. What do you guys think? Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Y'all see the number.
Coffee. Follow me.